There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Bear with me, guys. I have been definitely feeling under the weather, so I do have everything prepared, but I am definitely waiting for a couple of guests to roll in. I did not remove you because of your race, Greg. I removed you because I completely changed the questions I was going to ask. So it's a lot less, it's going to be more sanitized. But I decided to dive into a specific topic, and I didn't want you to be the face of this. So, but appreciate you. Man, appreciate you. Hold up. Oh, shoot. Ooh, all right. Maybe popping off cam to, do some stuff every now and then. So, it is what it is. Got a disclaimer. Man, listen. Disclaimer. This conversation may involve assaults at many different levels. It may trigger feelings and reactions. So viewer discretion is advised. Thank you. Appreciate that. I need to go and pin that. So while we're slowly moving, let me go and pin that. We got Anae in the building. Hey, Anae. Hello. Appreciate you. Let me get over here and pin this. Oh, man. So let's see. You need to switch accounts. Got another subscriber from somewhere. Hey, new subscriber. Hey, subby. Whoever you are. Hey, new person. Or old person who got their account unbanned. It's also possible. All right, cool. So let me go ahead and I'll leave that there. Boom. Disclaimer is pinned. Oh, man. Hey, Bree. Hey, new subby. Hey, what's up, Bree? Appreciate you, Bree. You know what? It's cool. After 2 to 3 years, man, I appreciate that you finally feel confident enough to give me that subscribe. That's dope. That's actually really dope of you. So let me get to what we're going to talk about today while we're waiting. Sorry, y'all. Again, what is it? So if you're under the weather, you're not feeling well. What if you are feeling well? Are you over the weather or are you the weather? I don't know. Anyway, so matter of fact, let me do another little round of clearage. I'll be right back. Ooh, okay. Oh man. Ooh, boy. Gotta get them sinus drain. That's it. You're over the moon. Appreciate y'all. Okay, so here's how we're gonna do this. I do want to bring in, I think it's like under the influence of the weather. Okay. I like it. I'm going to put forth my thesis for this week. My thesis for this week, absent the stream that Bree was doing, has been about toxic masculinity. I haven't been referencing toxic masculinity. I didn't want to use any of the buzzwords, but I'm going to bring in this video from the Karen Hunter show to, again, verbalize what I don't know what you want to call it, the catalyst was for this series of streams on manhood. And, shout out to a couple of people who might have mentioned something about, talking about Black women. We're talking about men this week. So shout out to you. You get something where we're not talking about Black women. and we tried to center the conversations around men. So we haven't, tried to double back and make it about women. So, shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Mr. He says in the building, man. Hello, sir. Hello.
Yo, what's good, Brody? Brody, make sure
What's
my
up?
sound is all right.
Yep.
Sound okay?
Mic sound right. Mic sound right.
That's what's up.
All right. I'm about to play this. What is it? A minute, maybe 2 minute or 2 of this real quick.
Yes, I think the biggest problem in America is that we have not yet fully decided just how much toxic masculinity we want to keep. See, we want to keep some of it. We want to keep some of it. We want to get rid of some of it too. We just can't figure out where the line is as a culture. No, we do not want a man to hit a woman. We don't want a man to hit a woman, but we don't want him twisting either. See, we want certain kinds of masculinity and certain levels of it, but it gets ambiguous when we start trying to figure out where exactly does the line stop. We want a man to provide, but we want a man to leave space for a woman to have her own stuff. We want a man to protect, but we don't want a man to tell a woman what to do. See, it keeps getting tricky. It keeps getting tricky. And that's why too many people in general have this notion of, dang, if a woman says no, is it absolutely not? Does that what that mean? Or is she kind of playing with you? It's silly and it's ridiculous. But what I'm simply saying is the problem comes in where we do not ask men for character. We ask men for performance. We ask women for character. In other words, we ask our mothers not to drink. We ask our mothers to be upstanding in terms of how they walk. We ask our mothers to be upstanding in terms of how they move, their sexual behavior, etc. Our fathers can have sexual escapades and brag about it to the son. But we'll kill a Negro if he talks about my mama like that.
Man, so I did want to lead in with that. Yeah, it's a podcast, everybody. Yeah, little podcast on that. Because we are kind of trying to ask questions that kind of speak to the character of men, kind of the state of men. Obviously, a small channel, small panel, a small group of men. We're not about to change the world with a couple of conversations, obviously. But we are having the conversation, one, not just to entertain ourselves, but to maybe shed some light into how we think and respond and feel to things and to maybe grow from that. But again, it is what it is. I do want to throw another set of disclaimers out there really quickly because the subject matter today will be tough.
Tonight's topic is going to be one that is going to be contentious. So I'm going to say it right off the bat. Moderators, if you start to see people get out of hand, getting ignorant, getting ugly, we don't do that. We don't do that. This subject is going to be sensitive, but it needs to be discussed. Why does this subject need to be discussed? So I think it's only fair that I actually give you guys my opinion on this subject. And what is that subject matter? Glad you asked. Let's get into it.
So we are going to get into the topic, but first we got our little internet friend here. Little internet friend, how you doing, little internet friend?
What's up, little internet friend?
Hello. I'm just the estrogen police. Don't get out of hands.
Damn.
Let's go.
I will report you to the board of women.
Duly noted.
Okay. We're here to keep it. We're gonna keep it cute,
not. Exactly.
Or not. Okay.
Exactly. So, man, anybody that may see this replay or pop in and, lurking in the bushes, we talk about serious things unseriously all the time. But we got a very serious topic that I'm going to put this disclaimer out. And too true to my spirit, it's very unserious. So, disclaimer. The views expressed during this live stream discussion are the sole opinions of people who probably haven't slept in 36 hours and might be running solely on coffee, TikTok,
Facts.
rage, and
Mhm.
or sheer chaos. Please note that any financial advice given requires you to return 15% of positive value to Rashawn.
That's a fact.
We are not responsible for any decisions made based on anything said here, including but not limited to quitting your job, eating cats, or challenging a kangaroo to a duel. Shout out to Greg. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for those with the low tolerance for nonsense, blasphemy, or broke niggas. And we also critically drink and advise you not to be hoes. Don't be hyperactive. Don't be overreactive. Don't be emotionally dysregulated. And don't be subversive, aka undermining.
Damn, that's good.
So, yeah, for sure. Trigger warning. We are going to be talking quite a bit about sexual assault. And if you have been here for any length of time, you know I do not like playing the YouTube policing language thing. So I use the word rape. I'm not somebody that says grape. I don't say fruit salad. I don't say any of the little trigger buzzwords. The R word will be used quite a bit during the first portion of this conversation that may extend quite a bit. So if you are sensitive to that word or that concept or that conversation, especially being had with men, please exit stage left. Do not skip ahead 30 minutes. Do not skip ahead an hour. Leave this conversation. The part of this conversation that is not talking about sexual assault, sexual violence, and rape will probably be an hour and a half from now. So you may just want to hear a whole nother conversation completely. So, see yourself out. No love loss. But we are going to be talking about it. Now, Yella may be joining us at some time. Let's see. That's also, Greg, why I also took your face off the thumbnail. Well, not your face, but, your name off the thumbnail. Because I changed it from something a lot more sanitized to something that's going to be a lot more direct. And I didn't want you to be like the face of a stream or your name on the thumbnail of a stream looking, playful and, lustful towards a nun. And then we're talking about, rape. So didn't feel appropriate. Took you down. But I did put a rapist up there. Alleged. I didn't see anything go down. But he is in police custody.
We already got a problem.
Hey, we already got a problem. What's the estrogen police? What's the first problem?
Oh no, you could, it's no, we'll just, nope. He is a rapist. I don't know what you mean.
I didn't see anything. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder said the same thing too.
Let's go. Let me take the ribbon, man. But shout out really quick. It is October, man. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic Violence Cancer Awareness Month. Of course, the purple ribbon is apropos for the conversation we had Wednesday and a little bit for some of the conversation we're going to have tonight. But I'm going to take that off my bro right there since it was partially hitting on him. But we had women on the internet choosing the bear not too long ago, mostly saying that the worst the bear would do would be to kill them. An estimated 91% of victims of rape and sexual assault are female, and nearly 99% of perpetrators are male. And again, this is according to the U.S. Department of Justice. 1 in 3 female victims of completed or attempted rape experienced it for the first time between the ages of 11 and 17. That's according to the CDC. About 51.1% of female victims of rape reported being raped by an intimate partner. 51.1% of female victims of rape reported being raped by an intimate partner. And 40.8% by an acquaintance. And that's also according to some CDC statistics. Among developmentally disabled adults, as many as 83% of females and 32% of males have been sexually assaulted, according to Humboldt EDU. For individuals with psychiatric disabilities, the rate of violent victimization, including sexual assault, is 2 times greater than the general population. And lifetime risk for violent victimization, including sexual assault, for women who live with homelessness and mental illness is 97%. It's almost 100% guaranteed that you will be violated violently, up to and including sexual assault, if you experience homelessness and mental illness. Now, as silly and performative as the way people on the internet went about it, don't we think that they might have a point about rape culture and our culture of masculinity and sexuality and the way some of us feel entitled to their bodies? That is my first question to the group. Now, give me a second. Let me just make sure I catch up with the chat. All right, so Yellow, not Yellow. Yellow's out here, my bad. I was going to say, Bree, I appreciate you for being here, the estrogen police. So Mr. He said, I don't want to throw you on the fire and have you answer that question first. So
Nah, you good, bro. You good, Brody.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good.
I'm gonna ask you, how do you feel about it? And you know what? Let me type that in. Now, hold on, give me a second. Let me type that in. Let me see. Let me put that into a banner so we can have it on the screen nice and neatly. Copy paste. Boom. All right. So, don't they have a point about rape culture and the way some of us feel entitled to their bodies, considering the statistics, considering the reality that women live here in the United States, Mr. Heath?
Yeah. Considering the reality, absolutely. I mean, just the word existing, rape culture. It was surprising to me. I found out about it probably college. I went to a predominantly white college, so that culture was pervasive, and it was kind of second nature to cover your drink and don't come back to a drink that you leave. Just all of the regular things, going to bathroom in groups and so on and so forth. And I just thought it was weird that these things are just like second nature in society, that we adapt to the culture existing versus trying to combat the culture. But it's just something that I accepted as a part of society and kind of ran with. But I completely understand the reason for the conversation, the culture around it, and the awareness. But I think it's completely insensitive to the people who kind of so the performative part of it is really what disturbs me the most, because again, it's kind of hard to see intention. It's kind of hard to gauge that. So you always have to have that antenna up, which adds to my ultimate air of cultivation of kind of a pessimist. Like, you got to work your way up that hill, and I think that kind of shielded me from being subject to something like that again, leaving a drink, and just understanding people are not always on the right side of intentions and things of that nature. So being that women have to think like that and move like that, it's not in their nature, and not something that they can adapt to easy. So I could see how this could be something to struggle with, but I don't agree with the rape culture at all. Sorry for being so long-winded.
Nah. Again, you never have to apologize for being long-winded. Especially now we have fewer of us up here. We can take some time and unpack some things, go back and forth for sure. If Yella comes in, we have 4. But I definitely want to say, I know I was antagonistic towards the whole man versus bear thing. Because again, I thought it was silly, I thought it was performative, and I thought it was dehumanizing to men to make that moment, paralleling men to animals. But as far as the violence that is propagated against women, that is perpetuated against women, man, that is definitely unacceptable. When I grew up, it was always stranger danger. Watch out for strangers. But when I got into the stats, and 92 almost % of the people who are raping women are known to them. Like, that's an insane number. It's not strangers. It's not the person that you walk down an alley. It's not the person at the bus stop. It's not just some random person. A lot of times, these are people that you know. Half of it is people that you're in an intimate relationship with, and almost the entire other half are people that you're acquainted with, people that are around the neighborhood, people that know you, people that know your name, people that know where you live. That's an insane amount of That's an insane amounts of predation in your social circle. Like that's in your habitat. Like that is crazy. Like, and that's the part that would make it really hard for me to like say, it's not bad, or like one in six women experience rape and sexual assault before the age of 18, but it's an insane number. Like if you have a handful of female friends, female associates, female family members, you know somebody that's been raped or sexually assaulted. It's crazy how close to home it is. And a lot of us men haven't had to have that same experience. Unfortunately, a lot of us had in our childhood as men, but not to the same degree as our women. We seem to fail to protect them. And to me, it's a shame that we don't talk about it more as men. I don't even hear men talk about men's experience. Other than I've heard Dr. Nakumbe talk about his experience as a youth, early activation and different things. I heard him talk explicitly about that. But I don't hear a lot of men talk about the damage that is done to them, but it just gets mentioned in some places. Some people deny that it's a sexual assault if they were underage. They had like that 20-something babysitter, messing with them. So it's a weird conversation when it gets to men because we've been cultured towards sexual prowess. It's kind of cultured in us to want to define ourselves about being able to obtain sex, even as a young person. So it's really tough. But I definitely don't blame women for the way they felt. I definitely do not blame women for the way they felt.
That's a fact. I mean, I kind of see it as an indoctrination, but we can elaborate later.
Yeah, no, go ahead. If you got something to say, go ahead and drop it down.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I just wanted to interject that I think it's kind of an indoctrination as well. We kind of all accept it and then kind of push it out.
Yeah. Man, shout out to Nova Rain in the building. I don't think I greeted you, sir. I think I waved, but I didn't say what's up, man. So, Bree, I know it's a lot to unpack, but what do you think about that? I know as a woman, you probably already knew the stats. Already, had conversations or in some capacity, but do you also understand like what women were going for when they chose the bear? And do you think that's fair?
Oh yeah, it's fair. I mean, I understand what women were going for. Trying to talk about men, about the nuance of how they abuse power and have a little bit of like confused misunderstandings about things is really hard, especially when there are people who on the other side have been groomed to play into it as well. I think it's really hard to get a lot of people to see it, because so many people are women are socialized to be like kind of pleasant. You want to be pleasant, you need to be nice, like that kind of people pleaser thing. So then it's just really hard when you have people who are complicit in it to convince a person that it's problematic. So I think that's what the whole, for me, that's the energy of picking the bear, because it's like, y'all ain't gonna listen no way. So shit, I might as well get mauled to death, versus like he pretend that he's my friend, or he pretends that he respects me as a human, but then as soon as I say something he doesn't like, then it's like a whole power struggle that shouldn't even be happening. So I totally get the energy behind it.
Yeah. I do. When I actually stop and think about it, as opposed to how it lands on me as a man that they chose a bear, other than once I get out of my gender ego, I totally get it. I'm gonna tell you about a conversation I had with a group of women later on in today's talk, but it broke my heart, like literally to this day. I still feel it. How do you inform or protect the women? Oh, let me copy this. Let me copy paste real quick. My bad.
Oh, can I say something while you're doing that?
You can, please go ahead.
This is why I say comfort and peace is male privilege.
Okay, here we go.
I just want to go ahead and say that because I know you hate it so much.
Man.
Even wanting comfort and peace is like male privilege to me.
Man,
but that'd be cute when y'all be asking for it all the time. Cause I just never, as a woman who is 5'2" and like 128 pounds, maybe 130 something after Pilates, But like, like that's just asinine for me to ever like. I don't even think about it. Like, it's not even a goal, because like that doesn't exist.
So
that doesn't exist.
comfort and peace
No.
just do not exist for you.
No, like I mean, it's not even.
And is it simply because you're a woman?
I mean, most people are a threat to me. Like, if I just look at it at a basic level, right?
Okay.
Like, if we're talking about harming me, if they wanted to harm me, like, I'm at a disadvantage for like most people.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and then knowing that most of the men who do assault women are people they know, so it's not even like you can relax in your own.
That's a good point.
Home or with your own family. Like, I trust my husband completely, but like I've dated men who they was a little shaky. So yeah, it just feels like something that, because he could be the best man, he could be a nice man, but a lot of men have misunderstandings about like ownership and like, you know, what is yours, entitlement, ego, and then it's just a bad mix of a lot of things. So yeah, that idea that I'm like looking for peace and comfort is just, it's funny to me when I hear it, because when I hear men verbalize what it is, it's also like offloading that onto the people around them, and I just don't even know what that means. I'm like, what does that mean? What do you mean?
No, I get that. I mean, that's why I said it was kind of, you know, an indoctrination. It kind of gets internalized and then pushed out as like advertisement. That's one of my personal thoughts, is that, you know, narrative turns into advertisement. People internalize it and then kind of like pull other people in by just regurgitating it.
Explicit. Everybody's doing the thing that we don't want people to do. Yeah.
So, you know, I just see the insensitivity of it. And when Bree, you know, puts it like that, you know, how most men, we articulate that we want peace, we want, you know, I always thought they were just relaying it to kind of like curation and inspiration in the home, just being tidy and being inspiring so that we can go out and face the world again. But, you know, once they word it as something different, like it's just, you know, nuclear war going on in the house, that's a little bit different. But the indoctrination of the rape culture, I think we all kind of accept it and then push it out as narrative. Like I said, just the nature of kind of like articulating it like it's no big deal to the vulnerability. And, you know, I'll land my plane with this salad of vulnerability and proximity, because from your, you know, statistics, they know their assailants is usually people who they were intimately involved with. And I just see the other side of it, where men prey on the less independent women, the more vulnerable women, the you know, latchkey or maybe geographically challenged with somewhere to live. And this is where it kind of cultivates from there, because they prey on these weak-ish looking individuals in society, and then, you know, just capitalize off of that. But again, the proximity being so close to them, and the vulnerability of the people that they're attacking and doing this to, it's just the perfect storm. How they pick it out is what, you know, is the question for me. How do they zero in? Because it always seems like these predatory-ish men always preyed on the girls that were in the shelter, the girls that had less than others, so that maybe they couldn't say no. Or, but how did they, you know what I mean? How did they signal these people out?
Yeah. And shout out to little sis MD. Appreciate you tapping in. Definitely talking about a touchy subject today. And that's why Greg said, this is why I wasn't offended by the bare choice. It's not all men, but it could be any other. Yeah, I get it when I sit outside of myself and sit with the reality that women experience. Yeah, I can understand why they can say I chose the bear. But when I was sitting in my own feelings, of course, I was like, oh, this is outrageous. How you compare me to an animal? You know, I went into the whole thing. But I'm going to ask you guys the next question. And I do agree with you, Mr. He said, there's a lot of indoctrination. There's a lot of culture that's set up around men and the way we move in the world. And it's hard to even pick it out, because you ingest it. You're not actively thinking about it, but you're watching. You hear your boys talk. You hear people in the neighborhood talk. You hear people in your family talk. You watch television. You watch movies. You hear music. that stuff slowly seeps into you, and before you know it, like you've had narratives painted for you. Some of it set to the best beats, you know, about how you men and women should operate. You know, Bree shared a clip from Biggie. You know, Biggie's got some problematic tunes. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of rappers that got a problematic viewpoint of view. One of my favorite, you know, back in the day in the 90s, man, was Gin and Juice. First thing they doing was when you're pouring them beer over them women, you know what I'm saying? Just like kind of degrading them in a way. They just come to a party and they getting degraded. Just coming to a party to have some fun. They pouring 40s over these women. It's like, so there's even in like, but this is all playful and the music and the beat and it's all celebrated. But like these women just trying to go to have fun, they're getting degraded at the beginning of the video to start the video off. Like that's how we start and introduce the music. So it's like there's a lot of that just gets sucked in and absorbed that you don't really even think about, that you don't even consider. I know there's so many sports that have women on the periphery, scantily clad. You know, the ring girls in boxing. Like it's somebody that doesn't have anything to say, but they're just off to the side. But you need to know that they're sexy. You know, that's very important. They're over there, they're being sexy, and they come in when we want them to, and then they leave immediately. You know what I'm saying? So even that thought that, like, you know, women just need to come in, be sexy, and disappear. You know, sex, silent sandwich. Give us what we need, and you know, pass us something, and then move on about your day. You know, let us see the sexy, and then let the dudes handle things. So even that, it's there, it's present in the program. So, Mr. He said, as a father, Bree, as a mother, how do you inform or protect the women, young women, and children around you in regards to not getting diddied, especially considering that only 10% of rapes are by strangers? You know, it's not about stranger danger. It's about, man, I don't even know what to call it. Like I don't even know what to call it because ain't no cute tagline we can put on it. These are people you know, that you know. But Mr. He said,
awareness, honesty, articulation. It was prevalent. Letting them know that, you know, when me and Nikki were younger, we told our kids we poor. The one thing we could give you is knowledge. Maybe it's going to change later, but we can give you information. We could give you explanation for things. And this is how it's going to go. Why we don't let you spend the night out, why we don't have you around everybody, why you eat the way you eat, why we tell you to listen to us. All of these things were articulated. And one of those things is, you know, their penis and their vagina, no kid names for it, no sugarcoating. This is what it is. And it is not on limits to everybody. That includes aunties and uncles. That includes any family members we're around, friends. Like this was completely articulated, but all I can give them was the awareness and the place that they can come to let daddy know if something was happening. But, you know, just the honesty and the articulation of it and being realistic as possible about the way this world works and the people that are in it was the best information that we can give. And that's how we went about it.
Yeah. What about you, Brie?
A lot of that same thing, just like that education, but also what worked for me, I teach them what works for me. I know y'all laugh at me every time I say it, but I'm raising girls who are comfortable in discomfort and conflict, because that is the only thing that has protected me all this time, is being okay with conflict and being okay with being uncomfortable. Because a lot of times outside of the clear predator, it's just someone making you uncomfortable and seeing if you're going to go along with it. It's someone, they don't start off coming at you like full on. So usually it's just a touch that you just don't feel like that should have happened maybe, but then you're not taught to respect yourself. So like I kind of always teach them very early on. Like I have a 6-year-old, I have a 15-year-old, I have a 10-year-old. So it's like, and they're all girls. And even early on, like with watching things, I try not to super police them, but I try to really help them learn to not dead in that inside voice, because a lot of parents teach their kids not to listen to their inside voice and listen to their voice instead. So even with something like, I noticed she was watching like Halloween stuff, and so she woke up in the middle of the night like, oh, I'm scared. She's like, the closet scared me. And I knew it's because she'd been watching like kind of creepy stuff. And I'm like, when you watch it and you feel that feeling like your heart's racing a little bit because you're a little creeped out, you need to listen to that and like turn it off. because you kept watching it and then it affected you later by like making you creeped out. So I kind of try to, that little feeling, like when you feel like something is crossed for you, listen to that. So I really try not to deaden that out too much and give them space to talk about it. And yeah, also, unfortunately, it's been a point of contention sometimes because I don't teach them to just listen to any adult. I don't. I've had my kids get into it with adults, their grandparents, their aunties. And I always give them room to, like, I'll correct them if they truly were wrong, but sometimes I can't be with them. And I just feel like sometimes it is a misunderstanding because I do have a teenager and she can't see the big picture, but I don't mind walking her through that because she's mostly respectful. She's not gonna cuss you out. She ain't gonna hit you. She ain't gonna, she'll kind of just like assert herself. And if she needs me, she'll call me. So sometimes I'm not there and she'll call me and say, I'm having this conflict with so-and-so, and I can like advocate for her or correct her if it's necessary. And honestly, I prefer that. I know some of the adults around her hate it because they're like, if I tell you to do it, just do it. And they don't like her calling me, but I am her source of empowerment. So I just don't really care. I don't really care that you feel some type of way about her feeling empowered through her parents. But so that the reality of how do you help them, it's not, people don't like it. People don't like it.
I
can imagine. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and it's good that you not only advocate for them, but like have them empowered to advocate for themselves. So whether that's through you or themselves, that's dope. Because that's something we're going to talk about too in just a second.
I mean, just the way she brung up emotional boundaries like that, like, and I didn't even visualize it like that until she put it like that. Because there's so many shows that we all watch, and we'd be like, "Yo, that right there was kind of weirded me out right there," but we continue to watch. And again, when things start to cross those emotional boundaries, we should absolutely recognize it and say, yo, if I continue to indulge in this, then this might be, you know what I mean? I might see some consequences from this later. So that was a great point.
Nah, that was super good point. A lot of times we don't pay attention to that voice, and we get talked out of that. We get talked out of that discomfort too. Like people will say, no, it's normal, it's okay. We'll get talked. We'll get talked through some stuff that we ain't supposed to get talked through. Some stuff is just wrong, or at least wrong for us, or we're not ready for it. But we need to have those conversations about the nuance of I'm not ready for something, and then nobody's ready for this thing. Like nobody should be dealing with this. Like
because a lot of people don't know.
A lot of people don't know.
That's a fact.
Man. So my next question is, and I'm going to have a long setup for this after I ask this question. How did you learn the line between a yes and a no? What does a questionable call look like to you? And I'm going to ask y'all to give a scenario, but I'm going to start. Let me check in with the chat. Women socially feel pressure to be agreeable and nice. Facts. And I am curious, Greg, after, I know you're at work, but man, drop me one of those books you do about I'd like to know what your problem is with blurring of sexuality.
Ooh, child, that's loaded.
I'm sure. I'm wondering what you mean by that. I am wondering what you mean by that.
I'm scared. I am afraid.
Yeah, because I'm about to say sexual assault is a thing. So I'm wondering how he's interpreting that, how that's going. But how did you learn the line between a yes and a no? So this is for me. I'm going to give a scenario because Bree was on my neck after the last stream. Bree was on my neck. So this is something I added today. Because we have differences of opinions in some of these zones, some of these areas, but I'm glad Bree's here to talk about this. Miss Ty is in the building with the purple hearts. Miss Ty, red lipstick vibes. Appreciate you. So I had a friend I used to hang out with quite a bit. Dope, super dope chick. She one time we were all out drinking. A group of us was out drinking. And she had mentioned that I had some Chris Brown in me. In her words, she said some betality, and I didn't know what that meant. I'm wondering where that came from because I'm not violent. I've never touched a woman in anger, like shake, grab, none of that. I've never done it. We weren't dating, and but it caught my attention. And I realized then that she felt some type of way, like physically insecure around me. Like it's so like where I felt unsafe in some way for her to like mention that when we're out drinking. Like we're all drinking and having fun and playing around and stuff. But like she felt something, but she was, I can't remember her height, but she was somewhere between 5'1" and 5'4". So she was smaller in stature. And she's probably at most 145 pounds, but she was probably still closer to 120, 130. And had that been somebody I was dating, at that moment, I would have never felt safe initiating physical contact after hearing that. I would have never felt like I could pursue her physically because she had introduced a feeling of I'm somebody that could violate her violently, or that's something in her mind. She sees somebody that could be violent towards a woman. So to me, that would be a questionable call. I would feel like her fear of my size makes consent something that's questionable. Like I would feel like if she's thinking I'm somebody that would beat a woman, and I'm much larger than the average dude, she would feel unsafe to say no because she said, "I've got Chris Brown. You got Chris. You got some vitality." She might have made a cute little word for it, but it's stuck in my head. Some 15, 20 years later, and if I were to initiate and like even use like because guys, part of like I would say sexuality is using some of your physicality and proximity, like being close, little hands in certain places. So I couldn't even use my body like physicality in a dominant way that might be suggestive of violence, even if she never, even without me saying or threatening anything. That could be somebody who had just expressed their lack of safety around me or thought that I could be harmful in that way. That could be seen as coercion to me. So that's where I thought the line could be blurred, especially somebody, okay, I feel like I could be, you're somebody that might physically harm me. I couldn't ever pursue that. And for me, that's a blurred line. That's a place I wouldn't feel safe to go. I'm going to put this up here real quick, this little chart. Let me bring this banner down real quick. So for me, when I'm thinking about like dealing with somebody and I'm like, hey, listen, I am interested in this. If it's not the, yeah, that's a great idea, the consent, enthusiastic consent, that I'm out. If there's any hint of hesitance, like the cooperation, I'm not really sure, but okay. The compliance, I don't want to, but I'll do it with you or for you. I don't want any of that near me. I don't want any of that. And I definitely don't want, I hate this, but I can't say no because, you got some vitality in you. You got some Chris Brown in you. Or I hate this, but I can't even physically fight back. Even if I do say no, I can't fight back. I don't want any of that. That's not acceptable to me. So I wanted to bring that chart to light so it can be visualized. The only place I feel safe with dealing with somebody is if it's like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. I'm in. Any hesitance at all, for me, is a no-go. That's a no-ground. So I wanted to have that long lead into the question so I could give a scenario from my own experience that would make me, if I were dating somebody, I would never feel going past that line because it could be seen as coercion. And if I were to get sexually intimate with them, even if they never said no, I could see somebody saying later on it could have been some version of rape because they were afraid. They were afraid to speak up. I kept insisting sexually and they just complied because they've already said they feel threatened by my physicality. They're threatened. I might beat them. And they're like a third of my size. Like, so I could see that through line. So for me, that's my answer to that question. And I'm going to bring that back up. Mr. He said, how did you learn the difference between a yes and a no? What does a questionable call look like to you? Like visualize that for us. Like give us a scenario.
Questionable call. Oh man. That's unique for me. Damn. Questionable. I don't really roll like that, Sean. I'm gonna be honest. That's never come up for me.
Okay.
I'm super analytical and intentional. Just as an example. So I've been married to the missus for a while.
Okay.
We were dating and she came over. I think this is the first time we kind of hooked up physically. But I had the condom on before she even came to my house, Sean.
Okay.
Like when she came through the door, it was on. And it's just I really try not to put myself in those questionable places, because that's when the problems arise. If it was questionable, I could land on the unfavorable side of that. So I've really purposely tried to deal with people that were kind of into me. Like I don't want anything to the right of that cooperation. I want the cooperation in all the things that's to the left. So that's why I kind of put the ball on my court to make sure that I'm treating you right, and I got the words to express myself, and I treat you accordingly. Like, I really don't want to be on that right side of that scale, because it's going to be hard to fight your way from that side, any of those things other than consent. So again, I've always tried to be on that consent side or all the way down. Yeses and nos are serious for me. I have a friend, one of my best friends, Caucasian dude. He's epileptic. And he told me when he first met me, man, I can't play with yeses and nos. A no has to be no. A yes has to be yes. I cannot tell a person one thing and mean another, because it could send me into a episode. And I took that to my physical, that I can't be playing with, if I really don't feel that way, promising things that I can't deliver, telling somebody I could do something I can't. Like, no, yeses are yeses and nos are nos. If I ever was in a questionable situation like that, damn. I mean,
Yeah.
that's tough. I mean, that's tough. It's I'm very deliberate with the women that I choose to as well. The maturity level of them, I don't think that consent and for, I don't know if it's not really gray. Either you had consent or you didn't. So I don't know how to answer that one, Arshawn. Honestly, that's a tough question.
Yeah, I got you. Listen, when I was younger, man, consent wasn't even a word. Consent wasn't a word that was in the lexicon. It was not anything. It was like, was she down? Like, was she down? If it happened, we would have assumed she was down. There was no subsequent conversation. If sex happened, if there was no like fight, if there was no fight, it would assume that all things would go. Of course, man, it happened. We had sex. Why would I think there was an issue after that? It was much later in my life when I heard things like consent, and later on, like people like, I recall it differently. I wasn't down with it. Like, I mean, not for me personally. I'm not saying this happened to me.
Right.
I'm just saying I heard in society later on, it started becoming a thing. Like, well, they regretted it later, and they went back and changed their story. And I'm like, I don't know. I never experienced that, so I always heard it through stories and stuff like that. So consent was a thing that we didn't talk about when I was younger. Nobody sat me down and talked about consent or anything like that. I only picked that word up through the news and media and the understanding of it. So Bree, go ahead and speak to what you heard from us, and then answer that question for yourself about how did you learn?
What I heard is exactly what I have come to understand, that a lot of men, that middle part, it does not exist for y'all. Like, a lot of men either are very clear about the force, which is the very far right, and the consent part, which is the yes or no. I think a lot of men are very clear about those things. But there's a lot in between that. And I think that the fact that the statistic was like mostly intimate partners goes to prove that that gray area is very difficult for a lot of men to grasp, because marriage or a relationship does not mean forever consent, or every consent always in every situation. And so the fact that that statistic is so high just goes to show that that cooperation, and I think it was something before cooperation, cooperation, compliance, and coercion. Those three things be whooping y'all ass. I'm gonna just tell y'all now. I hear men talk, especially on podcasts. You hear, I want a cooperative woman, a compliant woman. These things that men seem to talk about as character traits of women in a subset of men, especially predatory men, not necessarily to the end of rape, but just predatory in nature. Like, they just the go-getter, they're the American just rape culture dominant. Yeah. Those things, they also want women to be those things. And I just have found that the gray area is really slippery for a lot of men. And I think that the statistics also would show that, because beyond yes and no, there's a lot of stuff in between that. and people are different, and temperaments are different, and the inability to understand the responsibility that comes with power that you inherit, you may or may not feel like you hold. It's just that whole middle part just be I don't know I don't know what it is, because I have a very good understanding of it, having to live in it, walk through it. I have a very close, I understand exactly what it all means, and I've been in situations where it's slippery, right? Like I see the man that struggles with it. It may not be y'all, but I've seen a good guy struggle with those things. And I don't know why it's so hard to.
It sound like the more crass you are, the more you can bulletproof yourself from this. With it being so many gray areas, if you just whip it
it's
out,
really
or you
good
just say, hey, can I get some? Or you know what I mean? Depending on how you word it or articulate it, it sounds like that's more safe than kind of riding the wave and going with the moment, because the moment could be reflected on different at a certain time.
I think that the men who are on the force side and the men who are like y'all, like emphatically yes, I think that's a subset, but I think that middle part is important when you're talking about long-term relationships. We have to keep in mind that 92% of these things are people who the woman knows. And I think a big part of that is like consent in the past does not mean consent in the future. Being married to someone does not mean forever consent. And so this idea is the part that's missing, I think, for a lot of men. Because just because you're married to someone doesn't mean that you want to have sex with them all the time. And I know that's something that a lot of men spaz out about. Like, what do you mean? But it's like, hopefully they would like you enough to want to. But also, hopefully, you can be human enough to realize that maybe she just doesn't want to today, and that should be okay. Like, so the statistics show that it's not the yes and no, and it's not the force between yes and no and the force. Like, it's a lot in the middle that I think gets lost.
So I got a question for y'all both. When Beyonce's lyric goes, when you tap me on my shoulder, I'll roll over. What side does that land on? She might not want to roll over at that particular time, but she said if you tap, tap.
She's making an agreement. I would say that's an agreement. That's a language that they can use to each other. You tap me, I roll over, you good. If I don't roll over.
Right. Okay. There you go. Perfect.
That's an agreement. I would say.
And I guess the lot in here needs to be communicated and verbalized on here, because the assumptions. Now, when I came up, now I'm just going to put y'all in the way that I understood things, because nobody really sat me down and had this talk. I had to just kind of figure things out. Game was being able to get somebody to the left. Game was being able to move somebody all the way to the left. Never having to use force. Never having to coerce. Because the coerce, I think they call back then, they called it, like, I can't remember, it was like dirty macking or something. Like anything where you had to, like, where you had to use a lot of language, and not to be like smooth talking. I mean, but like, you shouldn't be dealing with him, or you should let me do it because doing a whole lot of like begging, like dry beg. It was there was negative connotation around that too. So coercion, trying to bully somebody into all that was looked at negatively. But this stuff in the middle, all this stuff in the middle was kind of like salesmanship. From compliance and cooperation was trying to move that to a yes. I don't know. We want to get you to a yes. That was the thing. And that was called game.
That's
trying to get you to a yes.
That's a fact.
So that's how I grew up. And once you got to the yes, we closed the deal. That was it. And a lot of times, like Mr. He said, you're dealing with people that already are interested in you. So you didn't have to sell a lot. That was a big thing. I think some guys like conquest. They like moving from as far right to the left as much as possible. Me, I like coming in close to. I don't ever want to start out any further off than I'm not really sure. I don't want to start off I'm like somebody looking at you a little hesitantly. They don't know you. Okay, cool. That's that. I get that. You're gonna get to know me, but right. I don't want to start off I don't want to. Anybody starts off like I don't want to. I don't want to convince you. I don't ever want to convince anybody to be with me. But that's the thing. Like, that's where, when I grew up, I didn't have any conversations. Nobody, even the women in my family, they did not have these conversations with me, which is, would be kind of, I would say, kind of surprising, considering how much they went through in their own lives. That's what really trips me out. Be honest, be forthright, and use your words. And see, that was also a problematic thing when I was coming up too. Just having dealt with women, being honest and being forthright wasn't rewarded. It didn't help you. It wasn't part of the game. Part of the game was just making yourself as entertaining as possible to make them want to consent. Being honest and being forthright didn't matter. That wasn't a part of the conversation. That wasn't how I interpreted the lived reality. Because again, nobody sat me down and talked.
Yeah, forthright with it. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Damn. That's why I said being crass might be the way to go, but it's just not looked at in society. You cannot just be crass. Like, nah.
I mean, you can respectfully be firm. You can say, look, if you have any doubt, I'm just not gonna go any further. I mean, that you could just, like you said, I think it's safe for men to say, if it's not an enthusiastic yes, I'm out here. I think that's a safe place to be, because the gray area is not always easy to perceive.
Right.
So I think it's safe. I feel like it's a safe thing, but I've known a lot of people who gotten caught up because of that idea of, I'm supposed to persuade, right? To some degree, that she's supposed to act like she doesn't want to. Isn't she supposed to? I've known guys who, she got a boyfriend. I don't care about him, but okay. So by nature, isn't she supposed to kind of be like, I don't know?
Yeah,
she got a man, so it's like
cat and mouse. That's part of the game. That's part of the game.
Damn.
Yeah.
Playing hard to get. That's part of the game.
She's playing hard to get.
Yeah.
She got a man. Of course, she's supposed to act like she don't want to.
Of course.
And of course,
it was also in a weird way. Like, that was, and this is gonna sound sus, but there's a, I don't even want to call it chivalrous, but there's something that was protecting the image of a woman, of being like demure and all that stuff, because she didn't have to come out as wanting sex as much as you did. There was something too,
because you always had to be the pursuer.
So I like this. Alonzo spoke to that too, like about the blurred lines. You get there and she would be like, no, but mean yes. And when you stop, she gets upset. Why did you stop? That kind of stuff would happen. And it's like, so it wasn't just me, and we would get that kind of like backhanded feedback from women to play that subversive game. So how, Bree, give us on your side, from the woman's side, give us a scenario to like elucidate. Let me pull up the question again. The line between, because I gave a scenario. Mr. E said he was digesting it. He was like, I really can't answer that question. But you give us a scenario to like that left, right, consent. Give us a scenario. Visual, picture it up. Help us picture it.
What it looks like?
Like I get that story about my friend, and the language she used made me realize I would, if I were dating her and pursuing sex with her,
you're in danger.
That I would never have felt that I could get a true consent from her, because she said, she sees Chris Brown or brutality in me. I would have never felt like I would, whatever, no matter what she said, if I was trying to pursue sex and I'm pushing up on her, even if she like never said no, I would never feel like I had consent. So like, give us like a scenario, like walk us through a scenario.
I do want to say, for consent, cooperation, and compliance, there's like a lot of room for that in the natural like dance of courting, I would say. Because if you start to talk, I know, like when I do that, if you bring the law into it, when it starts talking about what is rape, like there's the consent, coercion, and what was the last one? The last one, force, right? Cooperation and compliance isn't in the language of the law. So typically you will not be, you see what I'm saying? Like there's a little room with those two to like,
area.
The area where like, she's kind of like, oh, maybe, I don't know, kind of butter me up a little bit. Maybe I'll change. So there's even room. The law is not going to really stick you for getting her to cooperate and, trying to convince her with your words. Because typically it's no force or threats of violence or harm or anything like that. So it's just kind of like you may be talking and she can leave. But I feel like I've been through this situation outside of the force thing. Because once again, I've always been okay with conflict. So I'm very like analytical, like Mr. He says. So I'm always watching people. Like I'm always paying attention. So I rarely would go into a one-on-one situation with a man just because I know the inherent danger without feeling like I just would have to go in knowing I was okay with it. So, but when I was younger, before I was ever really interested into it, I would always get solicited, or some guy was always trying to like convince you that you wanted it when you didn't, you know, or just like trying to push you a little farther than you wanted to go. And I don't really know how the situation, like it's like every situation, I don't really, to me it seems like you would just be paying attention to the person, and if they seem unsure you would kind of just like either look into it more. But I know how most people are. They just like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And they get into that dominant role, or that dominant kind of energy. And then they just like bulldoze past you.
Yep.
So like I
overcome objections. Part of sales.
Yeah,
overcome
yeah,
objections.
exactly.
God damn.
And for most, for me, I'm gonna say for me, until it's gotten to the point where there was a threat or retaliation, like a tantrum, or like a threat of like, I don't know. Once it got to the coercion point, you're like, this guy's dangerous. I'm in danger. Like, let me go away. So I feel like in the situations where it was a close call, I kind of just, as soon as he started to seem like he was real, like, oh, you feel some type of way about it, let me get the hell on. Let me get the hell on. That was always the warning sign. I don't have a specific situation, but I would just say from living through the situation and feeling it out, once it gets to the point where I'm kind of like, he ain't been able to convince me with anything, words, more to nothing, I'm probably gonna bounce. But that took learning and being in a situation where I almost was like forced, and I was like, oh, these niggas is crazy. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's not do that ever again. But this was like when I was like 16. I didn't know yet. I didn't know how men were. And this was like a safe person, church guy, really nice.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that was a close call. Let me not ever do that shit again.
Yes.
So
that's
unfortunately, that's how it is. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna ask this question of the chat, and Bree, I want you to answer this question too, because you talked about, you were younger. You said you used the word younger when you started talking. How young were you when you first realized you were getting sexual attention?
Like 10.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
And then like from like some people, but then like it got like pretty pervasive after like 12. It was like pretty much
come with the territory. Yep. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. So like when you say 10 and 12, now were these people closer to your age, or like you talk? Were there any
I'm talking
adults?
about grown men.
Jesus Christ.
Very grown men. Very grown men. Like saying slick stuff when you walk by. Or like older men just being like, oh, look at you, just saying stuff that makes you uncomfortable, just like you just very aware of your body all of a sudden. And I wasn't even super developed or anything.
Right. Shout out, man. So Yella in the building.
Yella, what up, OG?
Hello.
What's up? I see he decided not to be an avatar, man, in case he had to have words with somebody.
I've been looking, hey man, look, I've been looking like the man who lived under the bridge for the last couple of days. All right, that's why I'm late. Nigga had to get some grooming by himself.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
The ball, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with getting a little self-care in. Got you a little self-care, nothing wrong with that. And I thought you was camming up because somebody said we don't argue with avatars. Thought it might have been.
Wait a minute. It's Friday.
That'll make me calm down.
It's Friday, goddamn. Shit.
I say 12 and older. You get
so that Alicia Keys song. When she said everywhere she go, a man wants some part of me. That shit like resonated with me. Like I didn't even realize how it was until I heard that. You know what I mean? And then equating it to how she looked and all of that, it just started to make sense that like at some point they can't go a fine girl can't go nowhere without somebody wanting a part of her, whether it's, you know what I mean? Like that's something that I never will have to experience, because there's
Yeah.
always gonna be people that try to capitalize, but not to the point where everywhere
Yeah.
you go, you have to kind of watch
Yeah.
your six. And I thought that was a part of the culture that we talk about, and seeing Dawn put it in the chat, and Bree allude to just the attention that they get, you know, it takes away from the innocence. You know what I mean? That's what I was saying
Yeah.
about the innocence of a child, and it kind of gets stripped from you, and you kind of lose it from growing up. And it's just the combination
Mhm.
of both. It's hard to kind of navigate through if you're not sophisticated enough.
Yeah. I would say as an underage guy, I didn't really get that. I mean, everybody was age appropriate for me, but I would say, Yella, you had probably a different experience. I mean, because you was like 6 foot something by the age of 12 yourself. You know what I'm saying? You was a tall fella looking grown by the age of 12 yourself. So talk to us about premature sexual attention from your standpoint, from the guy side.
My cousin, I was about 11, 12 years old. My cousin was graduating from college.
Mm-hmm.
And she was throwing a birthday. She was throwing not a birthday, graduation party at her crib, right? Well, at her pop's crib. So all her friends from my graduation class was over there, all that shit too. So I guess I called one of their eyes. Now, man, they graduating from college. I'm 12. That lady was on my bumper all day. All day. You know what I'm talking about? All day.
She said, "Who we finna run up on right now?"
You
All
heard that?
day.
Showing who?
She said, "Who we rocking?"
She know exactly. She know exactly what we're talking about. Just age changes the memory, but trust me, she know exactly what I'm talking about. But she was on my tail all day. Like, we was all through the party. She was following me around. We get some food and all this other stuff. And we was sitting there, and my cousin walked up and was like, "Well, girl, where you been?" She was like, "I've been with your cousin." She like, "Girl, you know how old he is?" And when she told her how old I was, that girl there, she was a nice brown skin. She turned pale white.
Mm. Mm.
Pale white. She was so embarrassed.
Man.
She couldn't
She
tell
was
you
so
was 12.
embarrassed.
You didn't see him at 12?
I saw him at 12, but have you talked to a 12-year-old?
I mean, granted, I've to my credit, I've always been a talker from a young age to now. Yapping, carrying on, gift the gab. I done always had that. Whatever you call it, I done always had.
Yeah.
I've always been able to conversate with people, no matter what age barrier it is. So no.
Yeah.
She probably thought I was like 18, 19. I don't think she thought I was her age.
Yeah.
But yeah, 12, I could.
The tender.
Yeah, at 12, I definitely looked about 18.
Okay.
I could have
Yeah, we
passed for
seen
18.
pictures.
Right, y'all
Right.
seen that
A
shit?
young Yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's kind of been like that. It's kind of been like that, and it's just because of the older age. People's always kind of assumed I was older, and that included women. So
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I'm getting ready to ask this question because Bree also being on my neck sparked another question in me. So, in the Black community, prominently but not exclusively, it is a thing about women and girls, boys, to have to sit across the dinner table from their abuser. The rates of rape in the white community is right around 18%. Black, 19%. Asian American Pacific Islander, 7%. American Indian Alaskan, 34%. And mixed race, 25%. I wanted to
What was the last two? Sorry. What was the last two?
American Indian Alaskan women are the highest at 35%. And mixed race, 24.4%. So I'm not exactly sure what the mixed race means. That what mixing? That could be anything.
But typically.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that could be anything. So I that one's harder for me to pin down. So I wanted to ask this question because those stats were kind of crazy to me too, and I'm gonna ask a couple of questions about that. But hold up, I got this out of order. Give me a second. I gotta move something. Let me just delete.
So was that the race of a Sorry, my sound hit. Was it the race of a family member?
Those are the rates of rape.
Oh, just okay in general. Okay.
Yeah. In general.
Yeah, so
race,
18%, yeah,
okay.
by race. So 18% of white women have been raped, or black 19%, 7% AAPI, 34% American Indian Alaskan, and mixed race almost 25%. Damn. So I want to play this and then ask a question. That's why I was trying to cue this up. That's what I needed to do. I want to play this and I'm going to ask a question about something. I should have had this queued up. I forgot. I put something. I got stuff out of order. I guess I don't need to explain or apologize, but I hate when I'm not prepared. But here we go, y'all. Here we go. It's going to feel off topic, but I'm going to bring it in.
So a man heads to the circus one day, and he wants to go see all these elephants. The elephants are like the center of the show. He walks backstage, sees these massive elephants, and they're tied to these stakes, but they're tied by these little ropes. It's almost just twine. One of the handlers comes up as he's getting the elephants ready and prepped to go, and the man turns to him and asks, "Sir, I'm looking at these elephants. They're 2-ton animals. They're larger than a car, and they're being tied to these stakes with these tiny strings. How's that possible? Why don't they just break out and run free?" And the man turns to him and explains, when they're really young, we get them as young baby elephants. We tie them to the stake with the same string. That small string at the time is enough to hold the elephant there. So when they pull and pull, they realize they just can't get out. As they get older, they understand that rope before was strong enough to keep them there, so there's no use. It's never been an issue and they never run off. This is learned helplessness. We're hit with challenges in life. Sometimes it's easier just to quit, right? Or to give up on trying. And it's sad, right? But we don't want to tie our kids down.
All right. Now I bring that in to get ready to ask this question. Does the way that we raise, dominate, and subjugate children create a learned helplessness that makes kids and who become adults later trained to not be able to stand up for themselves, even in places where they might have agency? That is the question. Do we instill that learned helplessness in them so that even in places where they could say no, even in places where they could stand up for themselves or walk away, they have been trained to just sit back, shut up, take it, go along and get along? Is that a thing? And again, that's another question that Bree brought to mind when she was on my neck after the stream Wednesday. She's been fussing me out for 48 hours, y'all. Y'all don't understand how hard it is trying to be a content creator when you got Bree on your neck telling you about yourself, telling you, man, you were sorry ass nigga, you ain't shit, you're broke. You don't know what you're talking about. You shouldn't even have a platform. You don't know what words mean. She be on your
I probably said all
that. but like
you whack, you twisted, your girls up.
You broke, the kid ain't yours.
Yeah, but I know I'm gonna speak for myself real quick. I know I had a domineering mother. I learned for sure never to stand up to authority. It was never something where it was permissible to stand up to authority unless there was certain, she kind of pointed out certain people. And it was typically, I'm not trying to be funny, it was always white people. Like school, if it was a white person, I could stand up to them, tell them to call me, have them call me. But if it was like black people, like church, home, aunties, uncles, I had to acquiesce. Do what they tell you to do. Do what they tell you. Don't come home. Don't let me find out you wasn't doing what they told you to do. And there wasn't any nuance or like, well, if they say these type of things, that's a problem. There was no further conversation. Do what they, you better be obedient. Don't be causing no problem. Don't embarrass me. So I had that domineering mother, you know, that would go upside your head. That, you know, so it was a thing. Mrs. She said in the building. So that's why I asked that question, because I know I experienced some of that learned helplessness that still affects me to this day in certain capacities. But for y'all, I want to hear y'all's take on the learned helplessness and how we raise our children. And do we shrink some of their capacity by tying them down to that stake early on? I'm gonna go ahead and start with your last man in, Yella, in the building.
I mean, it's absolutely possible. That's kind of how you end up getting the people pleasers that Bree be talking about. You know what I'm saying? They don't see that the rope is just there, and that was a dope analogy. I like that. That's, you know what I'm saying? They don't know that the rope is just there and it's really not strong enough to hold them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know that they can say no. Now, the unfortunate part is I was a hard-headed nigga. So,
okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Shocking.
For whatever.
That is surprising.
Nah, for real. But whatever negative came with that also made me I guess in this context, like, not susceptible to kind of like some shit. Like, I ain't gonna say I got away from everything, because I don't know what I got away from that didn't actually happen to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? How we get to talk about like the microaggressions and all that other shit. So, like, you know what I'm saying? You find that out once you start digging. But as far as like major stuff happening, no, I don't think none of the adults even liked me. So,
damn,
it's crazy.
It's probably a good sign.
There.
On how boomers was getting down. Shit.
Yeah.
Might have been for the best.
Like now, I mean, like, none of my uncles really fucked with me like that as a child. None of my aunties and uncles on my mama's side really fucked. My grandma damn sure felt like she didn't like. I had no granddaddy.
Not the grandmama that we like in hindsight. Not the grandma that reminds you of Betty White.
I definitely don't feel like she loved me at all.
Dang.
Damn.
I got such a
I don't even feel like she liked
because of the Betty White thing. Dang.
Oh yeah, she was trash. Like, we had like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my cause she was trash. No, I'm gonna be straight up with you. My family be feeling some type of way about that shit, but nigga, that's my experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she took every chance she could to, but that's what I'm saying. I wasn't as conformative to not see it.
Yeah.
Right, I didn't just go along and feel like, oh, that's granny, I gotta love her, do what she say, all that other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was the noticing that, damn, nigga, all right, everybody else get the nice shoes, but I gotta go get the clearance rack.
Yeah.
All my cousins getting the nice shit, but I gotta go get the clearance rack.
God damn.
You know what I'm saying? We in there. I'm watching this shit happen. Everybody getting ones. I gotta go get Reeboks. Now, Reeboks decent, but nigga, we was wearing ones back then.
Yeah.
I'm watching you buy everybody ones, and I gotta go get Reeds, knowing I want the ones like everybody else.
Fresh white ones.
Ooh, they was crispy too. Mid top with the strap on them.
I'm telling you, they
So,
something else.
So yeah, it was, but it was early though. It was early. So that's why I never got to the point to where she affected me in a different way. I think it was because, you know what I'm saying, how I was. Oh, yeah, fuck that.
Man, that's crazy, bro. Let me leave that. I got a corny joke to sit in the back of my mind, but I'm gonna go ahead over to Bree.
It's
all good. Why you about to choke that now? Like JD
you know, somebody sitting there talking about their vulnerable childhood and stuff they suffered. You got corny jokes running through your head, like, fuck. It's terrible, man. It's terrible. We split serious about stuff, man. But yeah, I don't know what you said, man, because that would have hurt. That would have hurt me. I can't speak to how it landed on you, but grandma and them, that was like sacrosanct to me. Like that would have been devastating for me.
Sorry, let me not say.
But
I mean, I'm with you, Bree. That's what started it early.
You know what I was about to say.
Man, and you accurate as hell, because that's.
I'd be like, Granny can get her shit rocked too.
Go ahead, Bree. Come on, Bree.
And look, the only reason I can't tell you on my mama's side is because I never was around her long enough to make heads or tails of it anyway.
Got you.
Shit. Yeah. Plus, I was just not. Well, I had a man. Look, let me stop. I'm a trauma dumper, y'all. Get ready. Sit back in my chair with me. I had an auntie.
Let's go.
I had an auntie. Now, don't get me wrong. This auntie has helped me in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. But I had an auntie that told me that I couldn't come back to her house till I turned 30. And she held me to it. And then when my son was born, when I turned 30, she moved the band to him. So he couldn't come on till he turned 30.
Damn.
I ain't never been back to her house.
I ain't never heard nothing like that before in my life.
Yeah, I wouldn't have went back either.
Right.
I ain't never been back. But here's the thing. Ask me if I know my auntie love me. Hell yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't even question it. Because like I said, she didn't help me out. But it's weird how shit like that happens. We got some fucked up people. Well, not fucked up people, but just weird ass family dynamics. And I know I done been a little long-winded and trauma dumper, but this is kind of what it is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. This kind of what it is. So, you know what I'm saying? When you kind of put in that position, it's that's when that fight or flight kick in as a kid. You either shut down and do what they tell you to do, or you end up being a me. You know, and that leads to its own set of troubles. So you know what I'm saying? It's lose-lose. It's definitely a lose-lose.
Dang.
Or you fawn, which is the third one, which is what a lot of women tend to learn to do.
Right.
Fawn.
Right.
So you try to cozy up to your abuser so that they maybe won't murder you.
Yep.
That's the other response. That is a part of that. It's actually 3 F's. But to the question, yes, I definitely feel like a lot of the traditional parent, the boomer, the authoritarian parenting style, that's really have to understand what you're teaching your child, because they don't understand nuance yet. They don't understand exceptions. They try to find the code and they model it. And so that was always one of the biggest things for me. Like, if you're teaching your child to respect all adults, listen to all adults, whatever they tell you to do it, and then you go to school and it's reinforced, and you teach them, it's like they're not gonna say no to a weirdo if he's an adult or she's an adult. Like, why? I don't understand. Like, why do people think that's how people work? Like, and this is a kid who can't fight them. Like, it's just always like no true thought about the chance that your mousy child will stand up to a person who's trying to harm them. And a lot of the whole respect me, or I'm going to lash out at you, coercing your kids into being, and that's why coercion is hard for a lot of people, especially Black people, because a lot of y'all parents coerced y'all into whatever they're trying to do, which was nothing. A lot of people, parents coerce them. You can't see what you do. So a lot of us coerce to get what we want, right?
Yep.
I mean, I'm gonna say y'all because I don't do that shit. But
trust them new niggas.
Come on, Abry. Right. Say you ain't put a pack of fruit snacks on the line for something now. Come on, now. You ain't there put a fruit snack eggs up as a reward. Nah,
you didn't switch no tag or nothing, Bree. Damn.
No, but my mom was like not that way. My mom had a degree in child psychology. It was her specialty. It was, she had cheat code to some degree, and she also had home daycare. So she was like the kid expert, I think. And so I got blessed in that way, that my mom was awesome and raised us all great. My dad was more traditional. He would come in the house and boomer every once in a while. Yeah, make me a plate. And I'd be like, man, fuck out of here. Get out of here, Dad.
Nah,
Listen to
that
that
shit
shit.
just sound, my nigga.
Give us some money or go. Get out of here. So that's kind of like always how he dealt with him. Like, so he didn't really listen, but he still said it anyway. Me and my dad get along great now, but he'd be like, get on my fucking nerves.
He had to come try at least once. He's like, you know what?
You're gaining
let me
too
give it a
much
shot.
weight. You're gaining too much weight. Dad, I'm 15. Like, please leave me alone. But he kept saying the things. So I was lucky that my mom kind of raised us to, and now we were raised Jehovah's Witnesses, which is opposite of that. So they're very brainwashed. Like, listen to the person at the top, you know, pyramid, Illuminati teas. Like, listen to the people at the top. Don't ask questions and like don't really. So we were kind of raised there in our church life, but not like at home. So we all just bounced at 14. Like my mom was like, hey, once you hit 14, you ain't got to go no more if you don't want to. So we just all quit. But yeah, so because we were raised that way, I think all of us are very, I wouldn't say out of the three of us, my brother's the oldest one is very like rule follower, but he still should be doing whatever he wants. So I think it's true. I think a lot of parents need to think a little bit more about how they dominate their children, like really dominate. People be dominating their kids and coercing their kids and forcing their kids. It's just like rapey parenting. Come on. Like,
damn. Shit, Bree.
It's emotionally raping.
It is rapey.
It's very rapey. So then your kids will seek out the energy.
They're gonna want it from you, or they gonna want it. They gonna either get it from you, or
they think that's love.
else.
Like they think it's love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you spent their whole childhood like coercing them, forcing them, like they're gonna think that's what you do when you love someone, or that's how you handle people you're responsible for. So then when they become a parent, maybe they do it, or if they're a man and they become responsible for a wife and kids, then they do it because they think that that's what people who are responsible for people have to do. They have to force them and coerce them to follow the rules.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Bro, you ain't have to say that.
Okay.
I mean, but that was good that you said that.
Yeah.
Pair rape team. Pair raping.
Pair raping.
Yeah. Like, that's crazy. Like as a concept, but it's true. It's true. All the force and coercion that we experience, it becomes normalized and internalized. That's crazy.
Yeah, if you don't do what they want, they taking your stuff, they threatening you. You constantly getting put on punishment. You getting beat. If you don't do it, I mean that's all. That's pretty
crazy.
Bad stuff.
Once you put it like that, it sounds terrible. I knew my childhood was bad, but I didn't. Like you just gave it a context that I really didn't like. Oh, like Jesus
I'm sorry.
Christ.
That's my.
But there was a lot of force and coercion. Like there was a lot of everything was at the risk of getting hit. Everything was at the risk of getting hit and beat. So it's like, dang.
Or your stuff taken away.
Yeah, and I had my stuff taken away.
I wasn't getting hit and beat. Too big for that shit. But it was definitely like it was lack of control.
Mm-hmm.
Like. Life was out of control, and I couldn't do nothing about it. Cause even it was like it's crazy being 6'1", 300 pounds, and little.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like you like the elephant.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
Baby
elephant. But one day I pulled hard enough. And I was like, oh shit.
Hey.
This shit got some give to it.
Yeah.
Right. Probably was just throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
Wait, did that just?
Yeah.
That thing just came out the ground. Okay. It's over with.
Yep. And once you get free, it's hard to go back.
Yeah. I'm not a lot different from Yellow, man. Oh, go ahead.
No, please. My thoughts gonna stay there. Go ahead, please.
I'm not much different from Yella. Grandma raised me. I told you guys a lot that my mom died when I was 9, and I noticed immediately that she didn't want to raise another child. She was raising me, but it was kind of inopportunistic. You know what I mean? It wasn't the right timing, and she was just finished raising her kids. So it was a little kind of like how Yellow was. It was, kids are to be seen and not heard, and so on and so forth. Stay in a child's place and all of the rest of the things, and the physicality that comes along with it, all of that. But for me, it was recognizing what The Wire was. The Wire was my family. The Wire was my neighborhood. And that when I recognized that that was The Wire, I kind of outgrew it and was able to do like Yella, kind of see that it had give, and I was ultimately in control. But it is the way we are raised, and we kind of perpetuate it again. It turns into advertisement. And not only do we raise our kids, we kind of advertise them to continue carrying the baton, and it just becomes a way we pull other people in. We trauma bond, and wait till he gets older, he gonna be bad. Like, wait, did you just tell me my child was gonna be bad because your child is bad? That's no, we can't. You know what I mean? We can't do that. So I kind of recognize that and just tried to pull away from it. But I do agree and appreciate everything that was said. It just made me reflect on the way I moved because like Yella said, I seen that it wasn't for me. So I gravitated away from the family, their eating habits, their just the way they came up, and I still carry it to this day. It's kind of why I wave the flags that I wave. I see because of the childhood of the aunties and uncles not being aunties and uncles. Like, I didn't even give them that title. I just called them by their first names. But I instilled in my kids and in the way that I move that uncles, nephews, like, we carry that title when you do uncle things, when you're teaching and being acceptable and being, guiding force in their life and things of that nature. I think that's when the moniker comes, but I didn't use it much. And now, just looking back in hindsight, I just see that, I'm very passionate about being conscious and being aware and all of these things because of the youth that I spent being subjugated to maybe a rapey parent. Shout out to grandma.
Shout out to the grandmas, man.
So none of us stuck with our aunties and uncles, I see.
Yeah, my aunties was cool when I was younger. My bad experiences were not with my aunts and uncles. They were all dope. My bad experience with other individuals, but I know Nova has a problem with my adult abortion theory, so he's bringing that back into that's all really bad. But parents should be able to abort their kids at any age, right? Under certain conditions.
I tell my kids absolutely. I'm gonna take them back to the hospital. They know they hospitals they were born at, so I'd be like, I'm about to run you back up there to the north side. Keep playing with me.
Yeah. Some of these little Hellcats running the street. Some of these little Hellcats running the street, man. Their parents should both be able to sign off with the state. Like, listen, we can't get them to comply. The state can't get them to comply. Go ahead and round them up and take them to the Planned Parenthood and soup them up.
What they do with them there?
You kill them.
They go euthanize the kids.
So he said, please don't get them started.
Yeah.
Don't get them started.
Listen,
you can get that big robot from RoboCop, the one with 2 legs. Is going to be.
I remember that one.
Exterminating bots.
Halt, comply. Halt, you must comply. Yeah. Just walk around, just extermination bots.
I mean, that's kind of what prison is, though.
I mean, kind of.
I mean,
but see, them niggas. But see, them niggas can get out and be pastors and shit. So,
well,
everybody find God in prison.
There you go. Everybody.
Like the first week.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters.
Yeah. I was gonna get this anecdote about how I grew up, but I was like, it's probably not good that I let that out. But I'm gonna say it anyway. I think I was about around 14. I was around 14. It was somewhere between 7th or 8th grade. Might have been 9th. If it was 9th, by that time I was 14. I was close to my grown man height, and I was like 300. I was a big boy. So whatever it is, so I'm somewhere between 250 and 300, and I'm somewhere between 5'7" and 5'9". And whatever I did to get in trouble, my 5'1" mother decides, like the old days, she's gonna put me over her knee, like to the elephant example. I went ahead and got over her knee while she tried to paddle me. And like it's just doing nothing because I'm like a grown man at this point, like especially compared to her. Yeah, but the reason I went ahead and shared that was but it also speaks to the lack of skills that the parents have. They don't have any other tools, because why would you even try that at that size and that age? There was nothing that could have been done. Like, and if you don't have any other skill or tool at that point, like, and at that point, I had that realization, like Yellow with the steak. I'm like, oh, you're out of tools now. I was like, oh, you've reached the end of your rope. You're at the end of your rope. Like, you thought I was at the end of my rope, but oh, you're at the end of your rope. Oh, we're like, there's nothing more you could teach me. And I was like, because we need something beyond. I'm gonna put you over my knee at this point, and you don't have it. So at that point, I kind of knew. I was like, I'm on my own. I'm on my own.
Yeah, there's a point in time where automatic compliance goes out the window, and I think the generations before us definitely struggle with it. I think we're gonna be lighter with it, but it's still gonna always be a problem, right? Because we're gonna go through it in our own ways as parents. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking forward to it because I know Junior is gonna be a giant. So I'm not trying to be scared of my 17-year-old who probably gonna be like 6'4", 250. So I'm gonna definitely be his best friend. Hey man, come on over here. I'll show you what's going on, cause
right,
I'm gonna try to avoid the whole me and him squared up in the backyard thing.
God damn fences.
I mean, shit. I've been there. Me and Pops been nose to nose a couple times, but I had to let that nigga know early. I had to let him know early. I had to let him know early. Nigga, no.
Nigga, name.
This ain't that type of party. I love you, nigga. But the ship didn't sail. That ship you trying to make float right now didn't sail. I wish it wasn't like that, but we ain't there and we ain't never been there no more. So let's do this differently.
I mean, so now that Yella says that, isn't that another part of the conversation to reflect on, that our parenting is going to be reflected on by our children, and then they're going to form a perspective. They're going to grow up and become physically, capable to defend themselves. And when they give that information back to us, are we ready to receive it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say I don't have any kids, so I mean y'all could answer that. I would say through my nephew, it's been a tough adjustment, realizing how some of the lessons were internalized. But again, it's not that's not fruit of my own loin, but it's seeing myself reflected back to me in ways that I didn't always like. So I get it in some capacities, but I don't, Bree says she'll answer in a bit. But yeah, Yellow, y'all could speak to that. Shout out to Harris Tribe Media Group, the Cash App, man. Appreciate you, Brody. Appreciate you, Mr. She said.
So I know that the situation with me and my son's mom not being the best, I'm gonna have to deal with that. Right? So the one thing I know I experienced with my parents is definitely not being heard. So as much as I can, as best as I can, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna listen to that boy tell me whatever his problems with me is, and we gonna work on it. The only thing I'm gonna say is just know Dad love you, and I'm doing what I can. Now, whatever you feel, we gonna work that shit out. You might be right, you might be wrong, you might be indifferent. You know what I'm saying? You might be somewhere in the middle. But I ain't gonna never hold it against you because you're not the one responsible for none of this. You kind of just getting this secondhand. So whatever me and your mama going through, you just getting this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No matter how much, because trust me. I would say this: my baby got here through love. I made him on purpose.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? I might not like her, but at that point in time, I loved her. And I say my baby born here in love. Now, did we stay in love? No, because that ain't how this shit work. My son was born out of love. You know what I'm saying? So I'ma treat him as such, regardless of what me and his mama going through. So we ain't on that, because you talking about lack of accountability. On both sides, it's like it's like being on a YouTube panel. Me and two more boxes, and both the boxes is right. Now how I'm supposed to
Good luck, y'all. Good luck. You got this.
I'm supposed to mediate this conversation. I'm supposed to navigate this
Not
conversation.
Not possible at all. Yeah, I'm back. He was saying like, are you ready for the kids basically to
reflect back to you?
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the day I get to sit up on somebody's couch and hear my kids tell me how I wouldn't shit. Yeah, no, I love conflict and discomfort, so I'd probably be like, "Oh my God, I thought this day would never come. I am so excited for that day." I mean, I really try, but I love criticism. I think it makes you better, and yeah, I expect it, so I'll be ready to hear what it is. Luckily, they've been able to give me feedback in real time, in real life. That's part of the reason I stopped working, because they told me I was a terrible person when I worked full time.
Oh man.
So, hey, love you, but we hate you.
Love you. You're a terrible person to be around. You just yell all the time and sleep, and it's not great. I was like, yeah, I can see that. So we came up with a plan to stop. But of course the damage is done, right? My oldest I've only been doing this maybe since the pandemic, and she's 15. So some of that people pleasing mousiness, I mean, some of it was through function, right? Because I really don't have time, energy for you. I don't, parents don't want to say that, but I ain't got time for your emotions. You be asking me questions. I didn't work 3 12s in a row. Took one day out, worked another 3 12s in a row overnight. Somebody probably died. Tuesday. Yeah, somebody probably died. Had to cut somebody out. Had my whole arm up somebody puss. Man. I just be like, yeah, what you talking about? This school project? Hey, fuck that project. Tell your teacher stop calling me. I'm not coming. So it's kind of like that. And you just don't have the capacity. You can't have it all. You can't have it all. You can't have it all. So you have to really think like you do kind of show what's important to you to some degree. And I loved my career. I loved it. I did. But hearing them say that, I had to make a choice. So that was more impactful, I think.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, because to my point about the toxic traits being rewarded and demonized that I made the other day, the stats about sexual assault had AAPI the lowest at 6.8%. AAPI being Asian American Pacific Islander, the lowest rape rate among women, inferring that they're men, because most people experience violence and crime in group, inferring that their men are not as rapacious. Maybe there's something different in the culture. Also, if you look at dating and mating, when they've studied statistics and who people choose on apps when they're online dating space, the AAPI are also the least, the males. The AAPI males are the least desirable partners. Asian men are the least desired partners, least selected. And also, Asian women are the most likely to date out of all the races, men or women. That demographic is the most likely to date outside of their race. People, I'm saying that to ask this question. There's a correlation here. They are the least rapacious, so they have that least, the sexual dominance, that sexual violence, sexual predatory nature, as reflected in reported stats. I'll caveat that, but it's a statistical aberration. Like nobody else is lower than like 18%. They're down at 7%. So there's something there. Then the men are also not selected sexually when people have a choice, or dating or married. So there's something different about the men. So I am asking if there is the correlation between sexual preference also comes along with sexual predatory nature. So people like Diddy, they're in our schools, they're in our churches, they're in our families. A lot of these people are lifted up. Diddy's lifted up. The pastors are lifted up. These people are people that are admired across a lot of our culture, American culture, Black culture, whatever you want to say. So how can we temper ourselves in a society where women select sexually dominant partners and male sexuality is praised while not crossing that line to becoming violent and predatory like a Diddy? Because we see statistically, there's another group that is not as sexually dominant and predatory, but they're also not as preferred. So there's some kind of correlation there. I'm not going to call it causation, but there's a correlation there to the sexual dominance and sexual selection. So I want to, Mr. He said, try to speak to that first.
It's a great question. How can men temper themselves? You have to be able to, I say this a lot, master how to maneuver in the gray areas. You can be, funny, but not too funny, like hamming it up. You gotta be, witty, but not come off like a know-it-all. It's a gray area. And sexually, you have to be, attractive and energetic and vibracious, but also accommodating and considerate. And like these things, if you're not able to function in these gray areas and don't come off like an asshole, but not like a pushover, that's where it meets. And it's gonna be hard. This is why, we as men gotta just go where you celebrate it. I think a lot that would eliminate this is dating the girl that likes you, not the one that you like. She gotta like you a little bit more, fellas. She got to, because it's always gonna be that question. Like Sean said, I try to lean over, you gonna jump if it's not lined up in your head the way you want it to be. But if you like me, if you smelled my cologne, if you liked my je ne sais quoi, when I lean over and I lean in, you're gonna be like, yeah, keep leaning, daddy. And I'm gonna be like, no, daddy. Like when you scrambling and scraping for stuff. But no, I just wanted to like me more than, a little bit more. And I'm gonna reciprocate, and I'm gonna be realistic, but I just need her to be leaning in a little more than me, because that's where, it could be problematic for me as a man.
Yeah, buddy. But nah, there's definitely a lot of there's a lot of correlation between dominant predatory behavior and who people mate select. So Yella, speak to that question for me. How can men temper themselves when we see I would say in the Black relationship space, we say they choose the Pookies and the Ray Rays. They're saying what I'm saying just differently. They're saying what I'm saying just more simply. They choose the sexually dominant people who lean towards predatory, like the homosexual people who are looking to exploit them. That's the mate selection choice. How can men, if we see people choose people who are undesirable, if we talk about traits, how can we not want to emulate what they select? How can we not move in that way? How can we keep ourselves from leaning into that? How can we, Yellow? Talk to me. Tell me. Keep me in the straight and narrow, man.
In our community,
you can take it. It ain't gotta be in the Black group or a sub-Black group. You take it where you answer the question how you feel like you need to answer.
I mean, okay. Well, just by.
I'm trying to keep it broad to like American culture, because this is an American culture thing. This isn't just a Black thing. This is an American culture thing.
I mean, but to be fair, you did use the Asians as an example.
As an outside, like I'm showing them this. There's another way. Like outside of our culture, there's a whole nother.
I was thinking about that too. I was thinking about that too. And I'm gonna get to that. But as far as our culture, because I don't know how to date outside of my race. I've only dated black women. So if you want to date a black woman, or if you want to be the black male of preference, I mean, you're gonna have to kind of play into the stereotype. You're gonna have to kind of play into that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's perception gonna be reality. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to tell men to temper themselves. Just don't be rapey, I guess. Like
Damn.
That's tempering yourself. Yeah,
That's good advice, though. I'm not gonna front.
I mean, like temper yourself to temper yourself to where you just not jumping out the bushes on chicks. Like temper yourself to where you're not snatching women into cars. It's like I don't know, but see, I don't know how to tell a man to temper himself in a balanced relationship.
Okay, that's fair.
And that's a good point, because
that is a good point.
That's where the struggle really is. It's not the strangers jumping out the bushes. It's the people that you're laying in the bed with.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like how do I look at my partner and really want her without her feeling some type of way?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think somebody said that earlier. Like I don't even register it. Like I don't even, because if you're there, you're there. Like you there with me. You can't have woke up and we stretched out like this, and then the next day I got to be worried about if you consent to this or not, because that's tough. That's tough living. So like so it's like, how do you temper yourself in a society where if you want to be selected by women, then shit, if that's what they want, that's what they want. But it's to the point to where it's like there's not a thin line between being
boy, I thought you was getting ready to go there.
What?
Can I say what I thought you were going to say?
Well, that there's not a thin. There's a very thick line between like trying to actually navigate the temperament. No, I'm saying trying to temper yourself in society. Like that's a thick line. Like, because there are things that you like. If women prefer this and I want women, then what you're doing is some things are just going to be okay. Whether the grander scale or of whether we dig deeper, it seems problematic. Some of it just gonna have to be okay. Because that's the game we playing. Like you can't be in the game, right? You know what I'm saying? That if that's the game, then some of the rules is gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But that's why I said it's a very thick line between me trying to be sexually available and baby oil on the floor so you can't run away. That's a lot.
That's a broad. Yeah, that's a broad.
Yeah, we got a long way to go before we get to that.
Yeah. I got you. Now, Bree. Let me go to Miss E said first. Did you answer this question?
I did.
Okay, cool. I was right to go to Bree. Let me see. She up on a call. She'll be back. All right, so I am going to move on to the next question. We can come back to her if she wants to answer that question. She can, but I did a Sunday school lesson once upon a time, some years ago. I wanted to look for it. I wanted to reread it before I did this, but I couldn't find it. I think it's on an old laptop, and my old laptops are all over the place, like Hunter Biden. But I did a Sunday school lesson on Tamar in the Bible, and there's two of them. So I actually did a lesson on both Tamars of the Bible. Shout out to Enya. She would know what that means. Anybody that knows what the Tamars are in the Bible. Not like Tamar Braxton. Not like Tamar Braxton. I knew it.
But only one I know.
Both Tamars in the Bible had stories that were sexual in nature. One of them included rape. I can't even remember how I structured and themed that Bible lesson because, of course, in the Black church, most of the people are women. Everybody in the Sunday school, outside of me, the teacher and the pastor, were women. And I can't even remember what prompted me to do the lesson on the Tamars and sexuality and rape, but I did. But out of the women there, 2 of them shared their stories of rape after the lesson. Another had already disclosed to me before, because she was a relative of mine, that her experience with being raped. But in a room with what had to be like 6 women, like 5, 6 women, half of them had been raped in their lifetime. Like not just groped or something like that. Half of them had been raped. My question to you is, as men, have we made ourselves the kinds of men that a woman can share her pain with? And are we striving to become places of safety for the women in our lives? So I do want to start with you, Mr. He said.
I strive to be. The women in my village absolutely see me as that. Even my mother-in-law, surprising to me, because she's been through the most out of all the women, and the conversations that we have, she kind of values them, and I don't sugarcoat for the most part. I still show the respect that I would show my mother, because that is my mother, but at the same time, she appreciates me for who I am, so I still try to carry that in the conversation. So I strive to be with the women in my village. I can do a better job being a lot more receptive to women in the outside world. uh at work, I work with mostly women, and we have pretty good conversations, and I believe 1 or 2 of them we have like a work brother and sister relationship. So I try to make myself available, but again, to a realistic point. I'm not just a pincushion for trauma, or I'm not just gonna believe a one side of a story. So, but I do understand the empathy, and that we all been through things that led us to the point to where you're standing in front of me. So I kind of move with it like that, and try to be a mirror for the most part. So you're gonna pretty much predict how we're gonna act, and I kind of go from there. But as far as the women in my village, I absolutely am a safe space. They know that I articulate it, and I'm gonna work a lot harder at trying to be more for women outside of my circle. But this is a great question. Great question.
Now looking at Yella's face. Looking at Yella's face. I want to hear Yella's answer. He's not. It was just your face when you was looking at that question. But I'm gonna see. It may be totally unrelated. You over there getting the smoky, and it could be totally unrelated. But what's your opinion of this question? Your answer.
I mean, I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. I mean, not for women. I think I'm more towards where Mr. He said is. It's like just kind of the ones I know that I'm close to.
Yeah, yes,
so I got like my circle. I got my niece. I don't have no daughter, so I got my nieces, and you know what I'm saying, my mama and my sister, if she ever called me. You know what I'm saying? But it that reaches out further, but yeah, I think fellas should be a little more receptive to kind of being not emotional pincushions, but just being emotionally available.
Yeah.
I understand that's the part of that's like 97% of the part of emotional intelligence that women be talking about. Is be the other 3 that be some bullshit. We ain't gonna talk about that right now. But it be that. It really just be being emotionally available sometimes. Hell, even if they look, I'm really like, to be straight up with you, like if she come home and she like, man, I'm sick of these motherfuckers at work. I'm like, go ahead, baby, fuck 'em. Yep, hell yeah, fuck them. They ain't shit. What's that bitch named Tasha? Yeah, fuck her. Yeah, I ain't never seen Tasha in my life, Mister. He said, but guess what? We don't like Tasha now. So yep, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
I knew Tasha wasn't shit.
I knew she wasn't shit.
Yeah,
as soon as you got
she
there,
ain't return your stapler. Yeah, she ain't return that stapler. You had to go track down your stapler.
She
Yeah,
crazy.
fuck her.
Yeah, Tasha, get her own statement. Bree, you back with us, or you still out? Bree?
No, I'm back. I'm back.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna have you because I mean, I wouldn't
really
ask you to
answer
be as a guy. Yeah, that's not a normal guy question.
I mean, I've been a man 0 days, I think.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? You float between your identities. Yeah. But how do you think to this question? How do you think men can temper themselves when part of mate selection has been sexual dominance, like that performance?
They can't. It's a temperament thing. It's a temperament thing. We got to start accepting that everybody. I went on a political rant with my 15-year-old. She probably was like, "What is wrong with this lady?" But I was ranting about how I hate big government and I hate when people try to standardize things that shouldn't be standardized. And I just think that some niggas is predatory. They like being predatory. They're not going to change. Too much gray area that you can't convince them exists. It's easier a lot of times to be less aware. It's easier to just do what's instinctual, or instinctual can be based off societal standards. So like we don't really just come out of our mama womb and live in the woods. So let's just say instinct is like what you've kind of been programmed to see and do and notice. It's easier. It's easier to just bot mode. So it's also a temperament thing. Like some people just don't have the temperament to not be weirdos and rapey. It's just like, so for anybody who has the temperament, I think all you could do is like become more aware of that stuff if you feel like it's important. But most people have a deficit and lack of capacity because they in survival mode. So I mean, I just can't even imagine asking someone in survival mode to see something that that doesn't even directly affect them. Because like, if you're in a position of power, if you're the more powerful of the two, I mean, you're not really gonna be on the other side of it. So it's just, I feel like it's asking a lot. I think it's the problem being so pervasive is proving that it's probably too much of an ask.
Damn.
As it stands, you just try to find someone with a good temperament. But even men with the best temperament, even men who are good men who. Like, I know a lot of good men, but some of them deeply rooted perceptions of what it means to be a man versus what it means to be a woman are just there, and they have room to be problematic. I think I'm just too cantankerous to like for it to work on me, because I'm just gonna argue until you pass out, and then I'll just be like, okay, well, I'm clearly too much for you. Let me just get the hell on. So like it's not. I haven't met a man yet.
Kudos, Bree. Salute.
That has navigated over it. Not one. It's like herpes. It's just dormant. I have the worst. I'm such a nurse, but I feel like it's like herpes. Like everybody has herpes, guys. You don't have to believe me. I've seen the results.
Okay.
No, that's right.
Because a cold sore is too, right? So I'm just saying, like everybody, if you've ever had a cold sore, you got herpes. I mean, it's just
everybody
so
hurts.
Everybody hurts. It's just so pervasive. Like
here a herp, there a herp, everywhere a herp.
Right. I'm not gonna say everybody has it, but a lot of people do. So it's kind of one of those things, and it's dormant. It's dormant in people. So you just I feel like the rapiness is dormant, kind of.
I mean, again, I think the awareness, and because a lot of young ladies say eyes, they see a lot in men's eyes, and Puffy being no different. He's just maybe it's a scowl, maybe it's demeanor peeking through there, but just paying attention to things like that, mannerisms and certain things, I think would help. Of course, it's not going to eliminate, but I think it would help, just that heightened awareness.
Definitely. Some senpaku eyes, which I know Rashawn never heard of until I said it. I have taught my daughters, if somebody got these eyes, if you bring somebody home with it, how some people be like, don't bring no white girl home. Don't bring no nigga with senpaku eyes to my house.
Yeah.
Like that's my I literally have shown them like, hey, I'm not saying they can't be a good person, but you don't need to be fucking with them. And I show them some real examples. Yeah, the
If you can
third
see
space.
if you can see like 1, 2, 3, if you see white under 3 of the spaces, or
Yeah, on the top or the bottom.
It looks crazy. If anybody Googles like Aubrey Plaza, like
yeah, she got them. Billie Eilish does, but she has Tourette's. So that's why I was telling her. I was like, it's not necessarily like they're dangerous or they hurt people, but it's usually a sign of something going on mentally that is legit. Like, because Billie Eilish has like Tourette's syndrome.
Okay.
So like that's probably why she has it. So it's a psychiatric thing usually. So it could just be like, oh, maybe they have depression or they have. It doesn't always have to be a dark trait. It's just something's not going on up there. And do you want to be the one to navigate that?
Right.
You know? So yeah, you gotta notice stuff, but a lot of people just are very unaware. So that's even feel like too big of an ask, man. Honestly.
Yeah. So Yelly, you're muted if you're talking to us.
No, I was just saying because I was just thinking about the eyes of the women that I've been.
Yeah.
Oh,
you already know. You already know.
I like doe eyes though. I like big.
Yeah.
I like big doe eyes though.
Okay.
So no,
Yellow's
I've never
red flag. He likes.
Yeah. But I've never had Senpaku eyes because I like a certain type of eye.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Those big eyes are beautiful.
A lot of dudes in the red pill space got Senpaku eyes. Fun fact.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Yeah. She kind of showed us, and it was like, dang.
Yeah. Senpaku eyes, and then there's like a dead eye too, like that dead glaze, that glazed over look.
That just the pupils are just all one color.
Yeah.
And no light in them. Yeah. They be looking through you.
Wow.
He said, "Wow."
So let me hit y'all with another question real quick. How do we make it hard for women and children to report rape and sexual assault? Is there a balance between taking every accusation at 100% face value, but also leaving room for the alleged abusers to not have done what was accused? So how do we navigate that? Because every time there's one of these things come up, this becomes a topic. These people are defending such and such and such and such. And the other side, believe all women, or nobody took me seriously when I went and talked to my mom. And that we have this conversation repeatedly when something like Diddy, R. Kelly, something pops off. We have this conversation almost every single time about believing the accuser and defending the abuser. So how do we make it hard for women and children trying to navigate this gray area? And let's start with you, Mr. He said.
We make it hard just by the rhetoric, the narratives, the cliches, like you said, believe all women and, prove it. It's just so much. What was she wearing? All of the narrative, I think, is gasoline being poured on the fire, and it's gonna dilute, the real message. It's going to detract from the people who are really being assaulted and just take away the validity of how serious this is in a place where rape culture is pervasive. But again, I don't know, where does that consideration switch get cut on at? Like, is there one person that can be accused and we like, I don't know, you're gonna have to give me a little more than that, because I don't know if we could just believe everybody, because Amber Heard's exists, and it's just so. This is kind of hard, and I see it at work. Like even when you try to question politely, it can still be frustrating, and people will just rather shut down than continue on the conversation. And I understand. I just don't see how we get to a place where we see any type of resolution if we're not able to be open and honest about what's going on, whether it's believing you, or we need more information, we need more evidence. But it has to be a humbleness of both sides to be willing to hear what's going on without, like you said, just spewing the narrative that reinforces disbelief or reinforces complete acceptance without any evidence. So shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like that though. I mean, I mean, that's good language that you use though. Like you don't want 100% acceptance, but you don't want 100% dismissal either. You know, so it's got to be critical thought, and we have to have that sensitivity where we can be critical of the claims, but still maintain like, okay, you experience something that you're saying is negative. Let's take that seriously. Let's take that deadly seriously, and assume that you had an experience along the lines of what you're talking about. But let's just gather more information for let's gather more information. Like not to dismiss what you're saying.
Indeed.
We owe everybody the same critical lens. I think we owe everybody that depth of understanding of the situation, because context does matter in some of those gray areas. Sometimes it's black and white.
Yeah, y'all know y'all don't fuck with context like that.
Yeah.
But be needing it.
Apex in the building, Dr. Quantum. What's up? Hello, everybody. Go ahead, Bree, since you poked your head in.
Oh, y'all reading context on. Okay, that context will have your ass behind bars.
Damn.
Tuck around and bang down if you want to. I think, for me, I generally will say in a very early phase, if a person came forward and said something happened, I'm generally like gonna believe the victim just because they're on the side of the disempowerment as it stands. Like, let's just say if I'm choosing to say, okay, let's walk it out, believe you, I'm gonna just say they got an uphill climb. They're the disempowered, they were the abused. There's no reason for me to make that harder. So to me, I lose nothing by just choosing to believe them. I'm not the judge, jury, or executioner. So I don't understand why that's so hard, but I know people often struggle with accepting themselves and accepting full reality of people that they know. So some of that gets in the way maybe, but yeah, I think that a lot of people don't have that same idea. They don't automatically believe it. You got to prove it to them before they'll believe it. I mean, I heard Umar goofy ass talking about to him, like what Diddy needs to do to prove that he did it to him. And it's like, that's where I think it makes it hard. I think a lot of times stuff goes unreported. I'm always going to push somebody to report it. I'm always going to push people to because I was having this conversation with Sean, you have to ground it somewhere. So keeping it in the realm of not being reported where it can now become grounded in something or solidified as if it was or wasn't. I think that's just not useful. I don't see any benefit of someone saying out loud to another person something happened to them. And you just choose to keep it in this gray area, which is the court of people's opinions, or whether someone else, to me, that's negligent almost as the person who it would be told to. But I know a lot of people don't feel that way. So if it was ever disclosed to me, and that could be because I'm a nurse and there's this do no harm and this higher call, but it's I just couldn't imagine someone telling me something like that obviously is disturbing and harmful to them, and I just leave it in a realm where it can never be grounded, which means it can never get closure, or they can never really decide if it will make you forever question your reality and not trust yourself. And ultimately that's just not beneficial. So I will always push them to move forward so that we can really get the facts as much as we can and try to ground it. And was it this or that?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense, Bree.
That makes some sense. The one thing I want to ask you about, I want to follow up with you, because you said at one point you don't know why it's so hard for people to just take their word for it. And I'll say from my experience, there were 3 people who were integrated into my life who were accused at various points. 2, thankfully, was after they were dead, so I didn't have any conflict. But 1 was very much still alive and was still inside the family unit. So it made it difficult because this was somebody that when they came around, we interacted with them. But then once they were accused, I had to make that decision. If I take what this person told me seriously, I'm cutting this person off. And I chose that route. But it was difficult because it went against and again, this is where it was hard for me. Right. You've let me be around this person and dealing with this person for this many years. Now, again, that was me, my selfish thoughts, not thinking about how they experienced it, how they didn't feel like they could, or whatever their experience was and their thought process and their feelings about it. Maybe they couldn't accept it, whatever they felt about it, they couldn't come to terms with sharing. Maybe we had the conversation, so I know why. In hindsight, I understand why they didn't come forward, because they came forward with something else and they weren't believed. They had a very bad response from somebody else in the family when they came forward before, so I understood that. But I had never had that opportunity to hear them out. And it's like, well, why didn't you trust me? But it's like, it's not my experience. It's not my life to force, But it was hard for me to then take all these years of maintained relationship and then recontextualize them with this new knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So it was extremely hard for me to jump on the side of belief, because it's like, after all these years, and unfortunately, second part of this person's a habitual. The person who made the accusation is a kind of a habitual miscontextualizer. Like, I have so much experience with them taking stuff and taking it completely out of context. And it's hard for me to want to just assume that they're right, but it's like, I'm going to, on this time, because it was so far out of their nature to miscontextualize something to this extreme. I was like, I'm gonna take your word for it, because I know your nature and I don't like it, but this is even beyond what I would think you would do. So I was like, I'm gonna just take your word for it. And I cut off contact. I wouldn't deal with that person.
I want to add, that's why I always push to move it into somewhere where it could be grounded in facts, because I don't necessarily feel like I have to make the decision just based off what someone said. I don't have to make the decision based off you just telling me, and then I just got to choose if I believe you or cut this way. And that's why I don't care to leave it in that realm of we won't report it. No one said anything. No authorities were involved, so this person could be held accountable, because it's just not it's beyond me. It's over my head. Like, I am not the judge, jury, or executioner. It's not my job to punish this person. Like, it's not my job to punish the person. Now, if they go, I can still make those character assessments, especially if I feel like it's very in their nature. Like, oh yeah, I be peeping if he be on some stuff. I may choose to, oh yeah, that's the last straw. Like, I already peeped some stuff. Yeah. They told me, like, if I'm already kind of there, I could see that. But if it was so different from what I knew, I would feel like I don't necessarily have to do anything besides facilitate you if you want to go forward with doing something about it. You know what I mean? Like that.
Let me follow up with you.
Yeah.
Let me follow up with you. Okay, so in this instance, the person was like, we would have family gatherings, or this person would come around. So if this person was still in your orbit and still coming around to functions, and this was a person of trauma to another member of the family, you still wouldn't feel a need to like do anything, keep distance, separate. Like, okay, well, I'm not inviting them to Thanksgiving.
You're saying that I've never peeped this, any warning sign for myself. Like, of course, I would hear the person, but let's just say they came up and said something happened. It's so out of my radar, and it's like, and then I would ask questions like, okay, so why didn't you file? Like, okay, I still just know me. I would push them to do something about it, unless it's a statute limitation.
Yeah, it have been 20 years since they said.
Oh, it was just like too long.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to really. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is, I know it's hard when someone's telling you like something happened to them, but it's really hard if it's 20 years later to be the person who now has to do something about it. And I feel like that's kind of like offloading. Now, of course, once again, if I feel like they was on some shady stuff, it's definitely some people, if somebody told, I'd be like, oh yeah, I believe you. I probably already don't fuck with them anyway. But I've had my own real life situation where this was said. Oh well, that's completely opposite of what I've ever seen. So what am I supposed to do?
So you would still keep inviting them to the functions?
I mean, in this case, this was they were taken in, like they were convicted. They were
okay. So I mean, it actually
they were put, that person moved forward, but it probably would feel the same. Like if you're saying you never saw nothing and you were cool with them and you got along with them, I'm just imagining it would be kind of that same thing. Where like, dang, 25, I know this person this long, I ain't never nothing, never. And this person came saying something completely contrary. I could imagine if it was like that, I probably would feel like I really can't. I just wouldn't know what to do with it. I really wouldn't know what to do with that, especially understanding the statutes and limitations. Like it probably was a thing, but it just like now you don't have kids or anything, but if like I have 3 girls, so yeah, maybe I would just like, okay, let me keep an eye, let me make sure my kids ain't around them, right? So yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't act at all, but it's just hard for me to feel like I can really get them the justice I feel like they deserve. Because they just walking around free and they did this thing to you. Like it just suck. Like me cutting them off ain't punishing them for what they did to you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's me standing in solidarity to you. So I just try to, if someone tells me that, I just try to push them. If it's still not statute, just do something so that it's everybody should know if someone did that. I feel like everybody needs to know. So even if you can't get them put behind bars, I always push people to like, we need to know who these people are.
Yeah. Real quick, ex-poet, man, I appreciate you for being here, but please quit telling me to put I instead of we. That's the second time you put it in here. You don't need to police our language. You don't need to police my language. We don't need to do that. We don't need to be told how to structure the questions. We're not talking about me specifically, so I'm not going to put I in the questions. It's not going to be done. I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking in a general sense because I'm having a general conversation with the general body of people who are here. If that offends you or bothers you, please keep that to yourself because that's just going to be a personal annoyance for me. Please don't police my language. I don't like that. But
yeah, I wanted to say because this is talking about protecting.
Okay. All right.
This was about protecting that person, and I like.
Then forgive me. I misread that. That was somebody else in the chat. I misread it. I apologize. Oh. Okay.
But yeah,
I have we in all of my questions because I'm talking to a we. I'm talking to a plural. So it's like I thought that was the me, but again, I misread that.
They said it earlier to Mr. He said when Mr. He said was talking, so we can't tell. Just at the person who you're talking to if it's somebody in the chat, you should be able to add them. But yeah, I was just saying that because like protecting, I think that's a big weight to them. When people talk about trauma dumping, like it's kind of like that's a big weight to just put on somebody, you know, and they can't do anything about it. Like you just really came and told me something that happened to you 20 years and like I can't do anything about it. Yeah, I can't protect you. I can't hold this person accountable. I can't do shit. But just like cut them off and then I'm still not even gonna feel good in my soul about this shit. Like we ain't running up on this nigga. We beat him up. We not. You just gonna tell me and now I just get to know and can I at least blow the spot? Can I announce that shit at Thanksgiving? Like, hey, don't tell me I'm a snitch. I'm gonna tell everybody.
Yeah, I get you. And it was tough. It was hard, but like there were some like things like I never felt comfortable with. So I mean, it was easy for me to believe at that time in their life.
Okay. Yeah.
But like since then they had become another person. But it was still like one of those things. Like for me, it was like I'm okay with this being the last straw. But this also can't become a pattern for you to start throwing accusations on people randomly out of the blue. But it never happened again. Like it wasn't like a spate of like this is a new behavior trait that she had picked up. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rock with you on this one. I mean, because
you said they had did some such. So yeah, if you did one or two, and I just like, and maybe
everybody always considered this person a weirdo. Everybody's like, this person's a weirdo.
Absolutely would have been cut off.
You're not watching my sister. No. So it was always.
Okay, so he was already weird. I was about to say those kind of people typically are considered weird, but I would have announced it to everybody at Thanksgiving. But that's just me.
But he never put forth like sexual problem vibes. He just seemed weird.
Well, but like, you have
like there were other people. Forget you. There were other people that seemed much more problematic sexually. Like they paid too much attention to people, the interest, and come sit on like that stuff used to catch all our attention. But this dude, he just seemed like just a little weird, like a little off. But it was like
okay, beat them off once. Yeah.
But I could see by the teenage years, I could see that weirdness being more hypersexual in their teenage years.
Yeah.
But by this time, they was in their mid 40s, So I was like, okay, they become a whole different person, had children. I'm like, okay.
I definitely would have blew the spot, but I'm petty. Don't tell me. Everybody finna know now. Oh, absolutely. I'm protecting everybody. You telling me to protect. I just feel like some people don't know what protection is. And like I that's the thing that sends me with the Diddy thing. It's like all these people coming out with stories now. All these people got stories about what they saw, it's just like maybe we need less gossiping and people who willing to like actually do something about shit.
Yeah.
I'm with that. The spot.
I'm with that. I tried to, like you said, at that point in my life, I was trying to believe I was in that phase of my time where I'm trying to honor what their requests were. So when they didn't want anything blown up, I'm like, okay, You know what I'm saying? Because I was definitely willing to make that call. But Yella, Mr. He said had to go, so he had to step out. Family emergency. Yella, what do you think about the? Did you answer this question? I think you. No, I think you were the last man.
No.
How do we make it hard for women and children to report? You say we, okay. How do we make it hard for women and children to report rape and sexual assault? Okay. We've made it hard by the lies that have been told on both sides. Like it's been a lot of lying for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Some of them, some of that shit come to the light. Some of it don't. Then you really don't know who to believe. You know what I'm saying? You look at certain situations and you look at like a Diddy, I guess, since everybody knows. You look at like a Diddy and you're just like, ain't no question. Like ain't no question. Like there's people saying it, but I think a lot of them just trying to be triggering and some of them really believe it and they are the weirdos and creeps. But at the end of the day, like ain't no question.
Yeah, he's sus. He been sus.
You know what I'm saying? You got the Vince McMahons who is sus, but monster still question mark. You know what I'm saying? But super sus, like confirmed sus.
Yeah,
like
confirmed sus.
Definitely confirmed sus.
Definitely
So,
deviant.
And then you have Trevor Bauer. Now, those who don't know Trevor Bauer, former MLB pitcher, got accused of sexual assault. Kind of the same idea, trafficking. Basically, it's all the same kind of charges now. But he was found innocent, even to the point to where his accuser, or one of his accusers, who was on Pop the Balloon, she gone to jail for fraud. For doing that same thing to two other men. So, and then it's like, it's not like, oh, he's innocent. He'll just be able to go back to his job. No, his whole reputation is fucked up now. Trevor Bauer could easily be a starting pitcher for every team in the MLB right now. I mean, his case is proven closed. Like there's zero evidence. Yet most of these teams are turning him down because of that, and we know it's because of that. They bullshit him around. He got a vlog, you know what I'm saying? So this is actually like his words. He got a vlog that he do because he's in Mexico. Basically like keeping ready, just in case. But he speak on it. He talk about that shit. He like, man, look, that's the only reason they not signing me, bro. So I think it's been a lot of that kind of makes it harder. You got people who wield the power, that intimidate, that harm, that scare, that try to take people's autonomy. Diddy is that person that just tries to just completely wear you down. And that's why you didn't know what happened to Cassie till that damn tape came out. Even though we all knew she went through it. Just knew. And then it's the other end of that spectrum where Trevor Bauer is somebody who completely innocent, yet his life is basically dangling right now. Like his professional career, his people still respect him, but he got that cloud over him. So I don't know, man.
That's interesting, Nova.
Say
Owens was a history-making runner, but it's really hard to show his races without swastikas in the background. So it gives us coverage in other grades. That was only one Olympics. They don't have enough footage of him outside of the Olympics, even though he's not affiliated with the cloud of running in Nazi Germany.
I mean,
Right.
That's interesting.
That was a long time ago. Footage of shit just get lost with time too.
Yeah.
I'm
as far
about
as
to say,
Olympics,
when we talk about Jesse Owens, they ain't say nothing about this shit.
Yeah.
No, you just seen the little drop.
Black people was like, hey, a win is a win. We ain't gonna
Bree,
talk about it.
only picture we seen of that nigga was that little picture on that banner that used to go around the classroom when it was Black History Month with all the
I
people.
didn't even know he ran in the Olympics for them until like 2 years ago.
Dang.
I was like,
You just thought he was. You just thought he was.
I just
You
knew
just
the
thought he
nigga
was a
running
track.
races. I just knew the nigga was running races.
Well, he was one of just fast. Huh?
I mean, because really, that's what like most of Black history is in school. The first Black person to do this, they don't say terribly against everybody's wishes. They don't say anything else. You just
He
be the
failed
first Black person. First Black person to do it. That's the end of the
Blacks
list.
in the blocks.
Yeah, that's it. So I mean, they don't really teach you that expensive. But yeah, you're right.
So listen, I heard the other day that when an accusation is made, that people shouldn't ask questions along the lines of that could be perceived as being on the lines of victim blaming. Now, it's been my experience that any question in those circumstances gets to be labeled victim blaming, because of the believe all women culture. But to their credit, stats say that 10% or less of reports are false. Like I looked at several different studies, and all of them had a percentage somewhere between like 6 to 9% of the reports that they studied were false. There are baseless claims, there are unsubstantiated reports, or baseless reports and unsubstantiated reports, but false reporting is statistically low. With that being said, why is it still so hard to believe accusations when they're made? Why do we need video to believe Cassie?
Because y'all don't believe nothing. I don't know why people needed it. I think people, no, I do know actually. Now I'm mad. I think a lot of Black people, specifically, I'm speaking of Black people right now, associate money and power with either some people associated with positive traits. And then some people just feel like you make a certain amount of money, you could just kind of do whatever you want. And everybody who went along with you just kind of deserved it, or they got what was coming to them, or whatever. I heard one lady say, you know why some of these men, like the Boosies and the Umars, want to believe that, Diddy's infallible, is because, they want to believe that when they get enough money, they'll be able to exploit and do whatever, and they'll be powerful enough not to be stopped. And honestly, because if you have to admit that Diddy's wrong, then you got to let go of your American dream. You're gonna be Tony Montana up in here terrorizing everybody with your mountain of cocaine, and it's like, I think for some people who make money, that is the dream. Like, it's a lot of people who, I'm gonna make it and then I'll be free, I'll be above reproach, and I'll be, or at least in my sphere, I'll have all the control, or I think that's why a lot of men, seek out money and power. And so, if you got to see Diddy be humbled, it's like,
that means they can take down anybody. They take that no matter what I do. They can take down anybody. It's
always the fucking case. But anyway, I mean, it's obviously speaking to a dream they had, or their idea of what power and money affords you.
Okay. What about you, Yellow? Government just called Bree. Told her that was the wrong answer.
Nah, that was real shit though. But I think it's honestly time. Like it's society over time.
What?
You know what I'm saying? Fairness to everybody. Like, I heard that stat that you used, and that makes sense. Like, false makes sense. But then if they're only pulling out false and they're taking that away from unsubstantiated,
unsubstantiated,
or I mean, okay, Like
Hey,
we're playing really fast and loose with false. Baseless and false is like cousins.
They close. Them was kissing cousins.
They super kissing cousins. Because it can't be true and baseless. Can't be.
Right.
Can't be true and unsubstantiated. So I hate that my brain works like that.
Baseless truth.
Baseless truth.
Oh.
That's
I'm out. Guys, it's been a great stream. We'll see y'all sometime next week. Tip your bartenders. Validate your parking. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, we all feel.
I think you froze Yella's internet. You froze Yella's.
You're a victim.
There we go, CS.
Let's go. I have my new excuse. Thank you, Bree.
CSI.
Here we go, CSI. Man. Woo.
What's up?
All right.
So yeah, I think that's why though. You know, for the most part, is time has kind of jaded all. We've reached a point to where some people just ain't gonna believe women, and that's fine. Some people are gonna lie, and that's fine too. I don't know. I wish there was that way to get the truth without it being victim blaming. Because it would be I would much rather we get absolute knowledge of what happened. That way we can absolutely deal with them niggas, toss their ass and incinerate.
Get them. The stat.
Bree,
did you answer this question, Bree, already?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Now listen, got some more stats for y'all. Got some more stats. Let's stat. 1 in 9 girls and 1 in 20 boys under the age of 18 experience sexual abuse or assault. 82% of all victims under 18 are female. Females aged 16 to 19 are 4 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape, attempted rape, or sexual assault. 1 out of 3 victims is under the age of 12. So I have to ask you, what are some of the reasons our children are still so vulnerable today? And what resources do we need to detect and reject the predators among us?
Oh, sorry. When you said it, I'm sorry. I've just been listening to Yellow too long because I'm like, it better not be no fucking program. But some reasons are kids are inherently vulnerable. They just are. They're very easy to lie to. They're easy to manipulate. They are concrete thinkers. They're just inherently very vulnerable, and that is just over time. People didn't give as much of a fuck about kids in the past, so them kids was getting them kids in the past was getting. I'd say kids have always been vulnerable, but it was stitched into the culture in ancient times to just fuck them kids, literally. So it's in more recent time have we decided kids should be protected, and they need us. They shouldn't be taken advantage of. That's a more recent phenomenon. So I think kids are always vulnerable, but the idea that they should be protected is fairly new, I would say. So what resource do we need to detect and reject predators? Man, this the part where I sigh, because it's too hard, because like you said, a lot of women like predatory men, and they like these hypersexual people, I feel like, have no ability to protect their kid from sexual predators. Like, what you do, you don't see to some degree. Like, and there's so many people who objectify people and sexualize people, just like they breathe air. I don't think that person is able to spot it until it's happening. Because it's like micro cheating, it's like micro predatory stuff. And it's like, they ain't gonna see that. Because they probably over here being micro predatory too. They ain't gonna see that shit. It's like, so I don't know. It just feels too beyond this blanket way of fix it. Well, the only way you can fix it is not have people in survival mode, not have people in such a deficit that they become blind to what's going on around them. You have to be very observative. You told me the other day, most people don't pay attention to people around them. They just kind of real self-absorbed. So I don't, if you that way, I mean, you cooked. I noticed the weirdo dancing by himself at the party. That's weirdo behavior, bro.
Yeah, I saw it. So I saw it. I'm like, I had to pause and go back. Like,
I mean, dancing like how Diddy danced when he danced by himself. That's like some Joker shit. He was dancing like Joaquin Phoenix down them stairs.
Yeah, and like, it would be if everybody was dancing, it'd be one thing. But like everybody else is kind of chill, sitting down, relaxing. Like everybody else look like they watching a movie.
And he wasn't doing just like a little two-step. I'm talking about he doing the whole arms out wide, spinning. He was twisting. With a bottle in hand, that's Joker energy. You just gotta we need to start peeping, and we don't have to. We're not judging them. We're not saying they should be in prison before we have anything come. I'm just probably not gonna fuck with the nigga who spinning around, being loud while everybody's sitting at the party chilling. Something wrong with him.
Yeah. So a little deviance, but not bad deviance, but he's willing to step outside of the norm. He's not conforming. So there's something there. It doesn't mean it's something there.
He's not conforming. He's everybody's at a smooth 5, and this nigga at a 10. Like he's just at a 10 and a very loud, outrageous 10. Like a very like like look at me, like I don't care what I'm standing over y'all. Like it's a domineering, not reading the room. It's not like the person who just hanging back and looking at the people chilling. That's a dominance. That's a display of dominance.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What is interesting is Diddy saw what they did to R. Kelly, and he still kept the video. Man, listen. But people get so confident they don't think they could be touched, man, because they had so much success. Ooh, man. Anyway,
I think he also was kind of stuck.
You think he was stuck?
Yeah, that was probably how he kept so many people quiet so long. So why would you get rid of your one thing that's keeping everybody quiet?
I see what you're saying.
Because them NDAs wasn't gonna hold.
Getting rid of your leverage. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was his leverage. So yeah.
All right. Anybody asking why I'm sitting in the dark, man? I'm like to get into my eyes. I ain't been feeling well the last couple of days. So if I sit here in the shadow, please don't mind me. We yell it. He's in the light sider. What about you, man? What are some of the reasons our children are still so vulnerable? With all we know, our children are still so vulnerable. And what resources do we need? Do we need that community program? Do we need that community program that the government is involved in?
Yella could start it.
Yeah, Yella could start it. I mean, that'll show some ambition.
Right. No, the fuck I can't. No community program. For what community?
Protect Chicago.
Shit. I mean, protect Chicago programs that are being in the existence of Chicago.
Need one more. They need the one that you start.
Think they had a system that dispatched police and ambulance when they heard a gunshot. They took it down.
Cause really, like what? That was a bad plan from the kick.
That was bad.
Took it down. It's like a year ago. Nigga took it down.
They probably had a lot of wasted calls. Man, I could imagine how much.
Where we going?
It responded to gunshots. It didn't respond
but sometimes
to
people don't hit bodies. Like sometimes they shoot and don't hit nothing.
Right, but they want to stop the shooting.
Oh.
So hopefully don't nobody get hit. Right, that's what I'm saying. That ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna do nothing. So, but I responded so viscerally to that question because my gut reaction, and I'm going to answer with my gut reaction.
Let's go.
What are some of the reasons our children are so vulnerable today? Because your God made bad people.
Oh, okay.
And keeps making bad people.
Let's go.
And there's nothing he would do to stop making these bad people. So we don't have to deal with it.
Bree, what was the name of that artist that Yella pretends that he's not? It was Yellow something.
Oh, it's Yellow something. The church video.
Yellow Pain. So
Pain.
Yellow Peel masquerades as Yellow Pain on the internet, y'all. So look up Yellow Pain. He's got a video about the fake Christians. Yeah, about the Christians. It's Yellow, but he's pretending to be somebody else. But he's not slick. Yellow Peel, Yellow Pain. Nah.
That's my pen name.
Yeah, your pseudonym.
You must have put that in my algorithm then.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's
bad people. So now you believe in God.
I mean, no, I'm not gonna say that. Am I gonna say that? Should I say that? I am gonna say that.
Let's go.
If it took me to believe in God to actually get people to realize that he don't exist, then I would do it.
Okay. All right.
Because I'm with you. I don't want to believe that the deity that's running all of this is just going to allow this to keep being.
Yeah.
Like this is why I don't buy into the whole idea of needing. You gotta, if you didn't know what bad was, you wouldn't know what good was. Just the fuck I would. Yes, the fuck I would. I promise you, I'll be able to tell you what good was. I promise you.
Right.
This is the results of the ask for the necessary balance. So there's my answer. Mm-hmm.
I have 4 more questions. I'm not going to go into any of the homosexuality down low stuff. I really kind of I kind of would want some of the same gender loving panelists to be available, like a Reckless or something, just to correct or at least push back on some of the biases I might bring to it. So I'm going to leave that out today. But I do have 4 questions left today. First.
Oh.
Go ahead, Yellow. Say what you gotta say.
No, I just said 4. I said 4. You said 4. I said 4.
4. Now, when I was 14, I was wearing Adidas. That stands for All Day I Dream About Sex. With the average first marriage of men and women happened in the early 30s. Today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 31 for women, 32 for men. That's the average first marriage. And hormones kicking in around 13. How are young people supposed to navigate sex and sexuality for those 17 years? Now, people that wait into marriage that I've seen in the 30s are prone to some psychological issues in the bedroom by the time they get there. And the rates of teen motherhood and single motherhood suggest that men are allergic to condoms. Now, do you have an idea of a better model of sexuality for young people than abstinence and repression? President of the Cheek Clapper Coalition, I'll start with you.
First rule, don't make babies. That's it. That's all I can tell you. Don't make babies. Don't make the babies. That's pretty much all I can. Don't bring no babies in my house.
Oh my God. Such single mom energy.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I understand the world that I'm sending my son into. Okay. Because this is talking about like young people and their sexual urges. And we all done been there. And like I said, my son was made out of love because I had the mindset at 13, 14, don't make babies.
Mm.
And if I could, make one before I was 30. And that's what I did. My son was born 2 weeks before I turned 30. So I waited till then to actually have a child on purpose. So instead of abstinence and repression and sitting at home and I can't figure out myself because you're 17 and your hormones got you about to backflip through the wall.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Because we can't discount that for them young people, man. That shit sucks. We all been there. We all been there. So if you can, don't. If you do, don't make babies.
Okay.
Shout out to that's Uncle Yeller for y'all. That's Uncle Yeller's advice.
I approve this message.
I would say find channels. So I think way before you ever do anything, there's curiosity. I try to tell my oldest, like, you don't have to do it to figure it out. Find as much as you can to figure it out before you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I am like, she's 15 now, so it's like, you probably looked at porn. Just if you see something that's weird and you just can't really process it, you know,
like
come
Usher.
tell me.
I can't tell you what I saw. I can't explain what I saw.
I know what it was like cruising the internet for stuff I wasn't supposed to be looking at. Okay, I expected at this point. You're curious. You're trying to figure it out. I say, you know, so research is good. I think research is fine. I mean, like for me, I didn't go the path most people did. I didn't do anything until I was like 19.
Let's
I had
go.
spent a lot of years curious about it, but not feeling like curiosity meant I had to do anything because there wasn't really anybody that I really liked enough that I wanted to do things with. So I think just helping them delineate that, like, attraction and desire does not mean you have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can channel that energy. Sometimes it's just like you got energy you need to channel. Sometimes it's creative energy is a really good way to channel sexual energy. So oftentimes for very creative people, you know, if they're like really in there drawing, paint, you're just cranking out stuff, it really does. Like I was a very creative person, constantly cranking out art, doing this and doing that. So I think it was a good channel for that. So I didn't feel the need to act on it, even though it was very much there. So I think having creative outlets really does help curb feeling the need to get it out, like do something with it. So I would say that do your research. Cut on the hub, okay? Because you ain't finna come in here and watch me and your daddy, okay? It's not gonna happen because that's weird. Jim Jones' mom, that's weird. Okay? I'm not about to teach you how to kiss. That's weird. So hey, go where you gotta get it. It's America. Be not free with it. You're probably gonna have to pull up the hub or something. I'm not really that mad at it. You know, I'm not mad at it. It's just part of how it goes. They're curious about it. What are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do, man? We don't really give people a lot of options.
Yeah, we don't.
Of how to learn about it without it being weird, you know. But I'm open to like, okay, we're gonna use the terms. When she gets a certain age, girl, you want to go to the sex shop? We can go. You can go. I'm not gonna judge you. So I just think being like open with it, like being okay with it, kind of paying attention to the person. Obviously, you know, birth, whatever control you need. If you find that you do have that high desire, get you some birth control. Do something to keep pregnancy out of the way. Also, need to be understanding about sexually transmitted diseases and how to avoid those, because it's not just about being on birth control. You're safe, okay? You gotta. Everybody got herpes, okay? There's a reason for that. Okay, perpetrators. So make sure you're protected in all ways. Have creative outlets. You're not anything until you're something. Okay. Attraction does not mean anything. That's what I tell my kid. Oh my God, you're nothing. You fucking no. Okay. Then you're not anything.
Right, then you're nothing.
Right, you're nothing. Now when you fuck something, you start to say you're something. And maybe you want to do something else, and you might be both. Hey, you ain't got to be nothing until you're something. That's what I be telling.
Okay.
You know.
I like it.
So that's kind of just have a healthy relationship with it and stop letting people trying to force you into anything. Just like kind of take control over it for yourself. Decide for yourself what you want to do. You know.
I like it, man. See, more balance in the books with Bree and Yellow. I like what y'all bring to the table. I might have to start paying y'all.
85 peso, 50 million.
50 million.
Yeah, smooth.
Nah, that's a lot. Oh, you don't bring that much to the table. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's a kitty party table.
Damn, I was about to negotiate a burrito stream. I guess I was thinking too low.
That's more reasonable. That's a lot. A burrito stream. I got you. Man, shout out to Dose.
Yeah, you're not nothing until you give up something.
You give up something. I like exactly. I like that too. I like both versions. I like that. I've heard it both ways.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So sex sales, people. We know sex sales in this culture. From weather babes to burgers, man. Weather babes, Demetria Oberlor, woo. To burgers, selling burgers, to car commercials, to ring girls. Almost everything is sexualized to the male lens, to the male gaze. GAZE, people. Do you believe that the culture around masculinity and manhood, proving yourself through sex, helps endanger women, infants, children, or are these people just broken? I know Bree kind of said they were kind of just broken. There's nothing you can do. It's a temperament thing. But do you believe these people are just broken, or are we nurturing these traits? Let's start with Yella, because Bree already got it started with saying that they're savages. No, she didn't say that, but let's start with Yella.
Okay. Go ahead, Bree.
No, I said this part ain't even here. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm saying.
Because he said burrito. He went to go get the ingredients.
Shit. I just had a chicken salad wrap. So that shit was good.
A fake burrito. It's an open-ended burrito. Burrito that's in an open relationship.
Yeah. All right. So, do you believe that the culture around masculinity and manhood, improving yourself through sex? I mean, it could be anything. Any idea that's sex driven is likely to get out of hand. Right? Any type of mentality is kind of like the same thing I was saying with the identity. Like anytime your proving ground is based on an identity, then you kind of end up embodying the full idea of it, and that's especially if you think like the masculine man, you gotta be proficient at sex. That's why it's like that's why I was just thinking about Vince McMahon. He was like, they asked him, he was like, how would you describe yourself at damn near 80? He was like brilliant, creative, sexually active. I was like, what?
Why?
Like, what? Yo,
that's important. That's important to a lot of us. That's important to a lot of us. Really.
So, I mean, yeah, because I think that. Damn, I will say this though. There is something to it because women don't ever really run out of that ability to please or make love. Right? All she got to do is get her legs in a position. It ain't got to be in the air. It's got to be in a position. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is something that as a man you be trying to hold on to. Once your Willie Bob Johnson don't be working no more, it's like losing a friend.
Yeah.
How do I
spend a lot of days and nights with just Willie Bob?
man. You like you done been through it. You only 37. What is you talking
No. I'm just saying. Hey, look, right? And in 37 years, hey, look. Even the most efficient car, it might might have to hold the key a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. It's all right. But we're that's also like a sign of man's mortality as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you weren't able to do that, you're just like, well, I mean, all right, time to buy a boat or like a yacht or some shit like that.
That is
Time to start splurging on the
Sounds sad,
grandkids, I guess. Yeah, it's time to start. Yeah, it's time to start, like, you know what I'm saying? Because it got to be the end.
Life is
It
over.
got to be the end.
Life is over.
Yeah.
That's very low vibrational.
I mean, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's also a place of privilege too. That women could think that. Because your sexual viability never stops. So to only yes, it's a thing that you never had to consider. Because even in your no, not being sexually desired. Not ever being sexually desired and not having to like okay, like real shit. At 80, you don't have to perform if you're a woman. At 80, ain't nobody expecting you to perform, but niggas are still fucked up. You can get somebody like it. Niggas are still fucked. You ain't get but the burden that's what I'm saying. When the burden of performance is on you, and it has been for a long time, your whole life. A lot of men, that's basically how sex it is. Because even as pleasing and as generous as women act about sex, it's still, I'm going to be that pleasing and generous because you're good at what you do.
Sexual dominance.
You know what I'm saying? I'm only going to be as freaky as I'm only as freaky as you are as good at sex.
Yep.
That's what I've experienced. Because I've been with some chicks who was like, no, don't do that. And then the second time, I was like, damn, I thought you ain't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, when you get to 70, 80 years old and that shit ain't working, yeah, that's a blow. It's a big blow to your mortality. Not just your conscience, not just your ego. That's your mortality.
Yeah, carry Bernie around. Just prop him up.
Now you just got meat flap down there. That motherfucker ain't even doing. Now you just got pee holes.
Yeah, I'll just be around.
Now you
large
just got
skin tag.
Now you just got a pee holes. Now that's just what the fuck. It ain't even worth doing shit with.
That's how y'all be. Yeah, just around.
Just around.
You be like that little meme where that man just be in various places, just like looking. Like he be by the swing set. He be like sitting outside.
Pablo.
Pablo. He just be like,
hello, darkness.
That's how y'all be at this certain age. Just be around.
Oh shoot.
But then you see how the men who are in their 60s and 65 and 70 and they own the Cialis vibe and they own the Viagra vibe and they still out here getting it. You see how they living though. Them the niggas.
Out here Dom and Michelle's.
Right, them the niggas y'all be like thriving, surviving and thriving.
They thriving.
I'm on that Ruby pack. I'm on that
EXO, right? I'm on that
Ruby pack.
I'm on that EXO.
I love that for him.
Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is.
Told you, Ocho. Get you pack me.
It is unfortunate that this urge as a man can become so encompassing that you hurt people behind it.
That's true.
And I know it's been said, but I kind of do wish women had more sympathy to that. That men are able to temper it as much as they do. Because if you look at how it can just overwhelm the fuck out of just a normal dude. Just a dude who's able to consensually get sex all the time. That's his thing. So, and that's what he wants. So, good luck, fellas.
Yeah. Bree, I don't think you answered. Did you answer this question?
No. I think our culture is
to?
very, very hypersexual. So I think that hypersexual culture will always endanger others. I think it can be dangerous even if female is hypersexual. I think it's the hypersexuality of the culture that puts people in danger because it becomes the highest focus. You see it everywhere. It becomes the highest order. So it just think that strangely conservative but yet hypersexual culture that we have is really just a lot of the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with that. Last two questions. Do you believe that the hypersexual nature of capitalism has contributed to men having a harder time connecting to healthy forms of intimacy? I'll start with you, Brie. Let's go. Hey, let's go, Brie. Let's go.
Because we like, intimacy is just like, what is that? What is connection? What does that even mean? Sorry. I don't know how I say it. Like, I'm sorry. The hypersexual nature of capitalism is contributed to. I don't think it's that. I guess the hyper masculinity, I would say, is more of what masculinity is in relation to capitalism. Like, you got to go get it. You got to do all this aggressive, aggro, borderline psychopathic behaviors to really get to the highest levels as we see. Like, I think it's that. And so then there's also some shame that comes with it that makes you hide your shadow, which you can't really connect to people if you're trying to hide something like fully. You can't fully connect. And then also that same gotta get it capitalist mindset is like, I'll do whatever it takes to get what I want, which could even be hiding my true self. Or being more agreeable just to not make waves. But you can't really be truly intimate with someone if that's the angle you're playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more the aspects of masculinity, whether and I'm using like the internet terms, the alpha or the beta line both have a problem. The alpha is the too hyper masculine to actually consider other people to be intimate with, and the beta is too people pleasing to actually
to really connect.
Be authentic to connect with people.
Yeah, exactly. So both are really, and then I think capitalism, I mean, it can be sexual, but I see it across the board. It's like work, whatever. It's like capital, like you do whatever it takes to get what you want, do whatever you take. And that's like men are supposed to be ambitious and go out and get it, take what they want. So that may look like a take that, but that also can look like a people pleasing man who just says happy wife, happy life. They both doing the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Yellow, what you think?
That Bree said it. That's what I was like. Oh, okay. So ambition, huh?
Yeah.
That's exactly what an ambitious man sounds like.
He got that ambition, baby. Look in his eye.
Yeah, you just his ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Like you being his ambition isn't perceived almost.
But but that's what they want.
Yeah.
But that's what he's trying to do.
I want him to love me so much that his want
his whole life scales up.
That his want to fucking task, his want to task, not just need to task, his want and desire and love to task is going to increase tenfold, so he can give me more, so he can provide me.
Let's go. Because I'm insatiable. I have an insatiable want, and he's got to want to feel my insatiable wants.
Got to be desired in your own fantasy.
It's crazy.
Wow.
You ain't gonna never let that shit go.
That was bad.
Man,
That
look.
was bad
Psychosis.
though. We never even talked about that on stream. I don't think we should.
Did we?
No,
We didn't.
We carried on, but not,
We carried on.
not live though. But yeah, that ambition is definitely getting us the results we don't want.
Yeah. This is my last day on night shift. Let's
Okay.
go. DJ Dose going to DJ Days. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Get off that night shift. Night shift. Man, so we got my last question for y'all tonight, right? And I appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. Appreciate Mr. He said. I know he had to dip up out, man. Hope everything is well, man. Love to the family. Hope everything is okay. And thank everybody that's been in the chat and anybody that's been enjoying the conversations, hit the replay. I appreciate all of y'all, sincerely. But for now, why do you think male sexuality is praised and someone more chaste, like the incel, is mocked? And for women, it's the exact opposite. Why do you think we have that flip-flop dynamic? Why do you think that's still a thing?
Male hypersexuality is praised, and then someone who is less is mocked. That's just gender roles, schminder role stuff. I think women are supposed to be chaste, so it's if you're chaste, you're a female. It's like assigning feminine traits to a man is always seen as, I think, like bad for men. So if women are chaste, then chaste men are women. It's like them stupid math problems you used to do. So yeah, that also plays into it. Like you're also
so the woman pays bills, she's the man. Yeah,
it's like well, volume
it's inductive reasoning. Yeah,
yeah. So it's like that also plays into it. That if you don't perform this toxic masculinity, then you're not seen as a man. It's literally, we've had streams where people are trying to decide what to call grown ass men.
So are we talking about men?
Right.
Are we talking about men or are we talking about boys? We talking about men.
They're over the age of 18.
Damn, man, whether you don't like their actions or not.
Yeah. So I mean, like, come on, we gotta. It's like, yeah. Then of course, I mean, I don't know how y'all do it. I'm sorry.
Men provide, Brie. Men provide. So
I don't know. I just don't know how y'all. I'm just saying, because if I was a man, I just feel like I would just be terrible. I don't know.
I've so given less than a fuck. I'm not good dating material. I want to date so bad, but I'm not gonna help you. I'm like,
he's like, I'm just
wow,
a negative. I'm just gonna be a big fat negative. But yeah, so it's just the what's that word? Homophobia also and the feminization considered when you don't want to just jump in pussy all the time. If it's not the highest order in your life, it's like, what? There are men who don't constantly think about pussy. Yeah.
That's like when IG says cock worship, like it's the puss worship. There's a necessity for puss worship.
Yeah,
and it's weird.
You know the fate of people who worship vaginas.
Sacrifice.
We talked about that before. Sacrifice. Give up your dick. Give up your life. Your kids get sacrificed too.
Yep. Can't worship puss.
So I mean,
why you think that is, bro? No, you good. You good. I thought you were finished. You know, we be long pausing.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm done.
Is you finished or is you done?
Is you done or is you finished? Oh, okay. All right, cool. She done. Question. Why do you think male sexuality is praised? People don't care, I guess. People really don't care. Because a lot of these people that be complaining be freaks behind the scenes anyway. So, I don't know.
I'm gonna say I don't think people complain, like you said, people complain, but I don't think they really want the world where the virtues that they say they want happen. They don't want the world where men are abstaining until they're married. People will say that they want men with more dick discipline, but I don't think they do, because then they wouldn't have.
Yeah, y'all niggas want to come outside.
Yeah.
Y'all
Right.
do a lot
And
of
it's
stuff.
wild. And it's wild because I've heard women say that men should have dick discipline, and then in the same breath talk about how he got to be proficient in sex.
Right.
So
Where you gonna get that?
how am I right? How am I supposed to learn how to be good at sex and have dick discipline?
Right.
I mean, you can only be a demon lord or have a discipline. I mean, them dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody should know. He's very like you hear Kevin Gates talk. That guy's a demon.
A demon.
He's a complete demon. I feel like he uses every hour of his day thinking about how to do things to women to bring them pleasure. Because it brings him pleasure. But it's so indulgent at this point. It's just like this guy's a demon. He's going to steal your soul. Is that it may sound fun, but I don't know. There has to be limits.
There's a point where the utility is lost.
Yeah, now it's like worrisome because it's just like, what are you doing this for?
Because you'll be a whole adult with a whole family because now you have 3 kids. Like how indulgent do you need to be? When do you step out of that to be practical?
Never, and that's how you become a demon. That's how you become a demon lord.
Mm-hmm.
And now don't have no
ain't they
utility.
divorced? Ain't he divorced? Yeah, right.
Of course
That's
he
why.
is. You ain't got no parenting skills.
That's what happens.
You ain't got no. You just really good at doing crazy shit to women, turning them out. It's like I'm concerned. I don't know. It's just where's the line? Like it's too much. That's like all the way to the other side of the incel to me. That's what I think about when you say a hypersexual man. Like that is the pinnacle over there. He's the very opposite end of the incel.
Yep.
And that's scary. I saw somebody post, would you rather be locked in a room with Diddy or Kevin Gates for 24 hours if you was Ruby Rose? He wrote a whole song about what he wanted to do to Ruby Rose.
If you were Ruby Rose. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he did a whole thing about, if I got Ruby Rose, he went into a whole soliloquy about all the freaky, crazy shit he do to her. And so they were like, would you that goes to show that it's scary, it's predatory.
And these dumb heifers nowadays, that's so romantic. Oh my God.
Everybody is like sees him as like this predator. Like they just like, this is uncomfortable. Like this is uncomfortable.
Actress lady?
Not the actress, the rapper chick, not the Batgirl. Batwoman.
Okay.
Bat them. What was she?
Yeah, she was Batgirl for like
Bat Stud.
Oh, okay. That Ruby Rose. Okay.
That Ruby Rose, yes. But it was funny because the face they had on it was the ick face. Like, ooh, that's tough. Like, I don't think I want to be locked in the room with neither one of them niggas for 24 hours. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's look at Rashawn's face. Exactly. Exactly. It's too much.
Yeah. Well, shoot, man. Got through my questions on the rape culture. All that stuff we went through, I feel feeds into the rape culture. Like the hypersexuality, the perspectives and all that. But I didn't want to get into the, again, more same gender loving type questions and DL questions. I really kind of want somebody out, when IG's available or something, if I do that. But
and I'm sure
I want somebody to be able to push back on my body. Greg's going to have some strange bone of
deviant line of questioning about kinks and sexuality. And
I don't like the way you use the word stigmatize.
Nah, it's going to be like some... All women want to be put in a cage. You just gotta,
oh my God,
build her a shed in the back, and then she'll let you do it. It's gonna be something like that.
Yeah. You gotta tell her it's okay.
Yellow was like, it feels
right. Want to be in a cage.
If you show her that you can build a door frame, she'll let you chain her up.
That's too fun.
Be something like that.
It be that easy sometimes. I'm just saying it do that. It just simply be that easy.
It'd be kind of easy.
Man, it'd be that easy.
Shockingly, too. That's what gets me. You hear all this stuff coming up, man. You hear all this stuff, man. Then when you experience, you go, oh, man. Fresh and fit, they don't know what they talking about.
Dude, you know how many times I have been in line at the gas station, like, I see her buy some blunts, I'll be like, yo, go ahead and match one. Next thing you know, ankles in the air. I don't know how that middle part went. I don't know how to have.
The middle
Yada,
part
yada,
doesn't
yada.
exist.
Yada yada yada. Yeah, yada
The
yada yada.
middle
I seen
part
something.
doesn't exist. I think that's why it's always like, wait, there was a middle part. It's like that
But
guy
Mhm.
who was on Midsummer with the eyebrows. Like, wait, you guys are getting paid. Wait, there's a middle part.
But to be fair, okay. So that's an interesting thing, right? So when I made that suggestion to match me a blunt, that's essentially me saying, "Hey, want to go fuck?"
Wow, that's crazy.
And I think that's
Is it?
it is. Because why the fuck am I asking you to come smoke with me?
Like at the house? Or like y'all was just outside?
Like at anywhere.
Yeah, we don't know each other.
I don't know.
Why are
I
we
don't
going
know.
to, like, why are we like? Let's go share a juice box. I don't know you. Let's go share a juice box. Like,
yeah.
What's the reason for that?
Let's go smoke two blunts together.
It's like one of those weird, like I gotta go see a man about a horse kind of thing.
Yeah. There's no reason for that.
I mean, okay.
Other than,
I'm sorry, I just said okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay. Maybe she just likes to smoke and one day have a conversation. No? Okay.
Doesn't she already have people to smoke with? Doesn't she already have people to converse
Maybe it's
with?
a new person
This is a
she never
stranger.
talked to.
This is a stranger. Exactly.
She might just want to like talk to you, get to know you. You seem interesting. Oh, maybe I'm just willing to chat today.
And again, all he said was, let's match blunts. He didn't say, let's converse, let's talk. I want to get to know you. Didn't say any of that. He said, let's match blunts. You don't need to match blunts. So obviously, the inference is, I'm trying to get to know something else.
Yeah, I guess.
They don't need each other for weed. They both getting blunts.
I mean, she
we both did it right. We both did to get blunts
Did she feel
for
the
the
same
weed
way?
we got. Yeah.
She felt the same way? She went to the house?
Yeah. I said go from we in line at the gas station to we at a house. Right. Ankles in the air.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess.
Yeah, they was on. They know.
I mean, I've never
what a time
existed on that side of that frequency of life. So, you know, to each their own. To each their own. I met people who've done that in my line of work.
Yeah.
I just never understood. Like, you got to be a different kind of open to just like, wonder. If I was gonna do that, I just feel like I would get paid for it. That's just honestly how I feel about it.
I feel you.
Because if I was just like, oh, nigga walk up to me at the gas station, I'll go to his house. I mean, I might as well be getting paid for it.
Yeah. But they just want to have sex too. Girls just want to have fun. Ain't nothing wrong
right.
with
that. I can definitely still do it and get paid for it because niggas will pay. So
yeah,
I mean niggas will pay for it, but I didn't ask you let me pay you for sex.
No, I'm not talking about you. Like a
her feelings are. If it's gonna be that spontaneous,
if I was just gonna be that out here. If I was just gonna be like, yeah, fuck around and find out. I mean, no, if I really was gonna be on that time.
No, I got you. I'm running my own thought. Let me mute.
But I had a friend like that. I had a friend like that. She started having sex and she racked up 17 bodies in probably a span of 2 months. I said, I don't know how you do it.
That's crazy work.
He said that's healthy.
It's not.
He said that's not.
No, it's not, bro. No, it's
3 months.
No,
3 months. Listen.
2.
Oh, 2
no,
months.
that's
2 months.
broken fucking. Yeah, like
listen.
she gave out some broken pussy. Like that was just some emotionally broken pussy.
It was just like a quiet, shy person.
Because that's like 8.
Never
that's like
really
8 weeks.
Like shy, quiet person that really got attention. Finally got some blooming overnight. Somebody at the first job gave her attention, and then she started hanging around him. He had homies, and it was just like she just anybody who blinked at her too much.
2 weeks. Because listen, come on, man. You
ain't never 2 a week.
Listen, are you trying to tell me you never in your life? Listen,
dog.
But listen. Hold up. Hear me out.
Pass the line.
Hear me out. If you've been in a relationship, you ain't gonna tell me you didn't at least have sex with your partner twice a week.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so listen. So if you have sex with your partner at least twice a week, you have the drive to have sex at least twice a week. So why would that drive be lessened simply because you don't have a partner? Now, maybe she's somebody that ain't nobody want to be around for more than a day.
I think she was still smashing some of the first dude, in
Oh, there was some overlap.
Oh, there's definitely you wonder how these people get into paternity court.
17 concurrent. Oh, hell.
That's why when y'all was like, how you end up in paternity court? Like, I don't know. I was like, I definitely know.
You said she was a late bloomer. She
it was just like
a
little confidence thing.
They like me.
They really
like me.
Yeah, that's the paternity. Yeah, that's the paternity court stuff right there.
That's how you end up in paternity court.
Yeah.
Ain't no way you would know.
I'm thinking that she's moving them more in and out. I respect more people that move them in, move them out. Okay, you Tuesday, okay, cool. That was okay. I'm going Saturday.
And everything. She probably had a train ran on something that might have been.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Scandalous.
So, Yellow, you got more rules than just don't have babies. She ain't had no babies though. To this day.
No babies.
I mean,
to this day.
Yeah.
Then, hey.
She slowed down.
I've encouraged women, please feel as sexually free as you need to go let a bunch of men have their way with you. Like, it's empowering shit. When you full on know it's empowering shit, go ahead. I encourage it. Yeah, we know, because there's niggas that want 2-3 women at the same time. We supposed to just automatically assume that there's just no women.
Yeah, who want that? Yeah, that overindulgence,
right?
Attention thing, but always with consent.
Always, of course. Always with consent.
The consent spectrum. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cooperation. Compliance.
Now, Yellow wasn't here for this. You missed this, right? Yellow, you missed all of this, right?
I seen it.
Okay.
You seen it. Yeah.
So which ones of these are you down for? Like, you talking to a young lady and her response like, hey, listen, you want to match this blunt wrap? And she responds with, I'm not really sure, but I suppose it will be okay. You still trying to get her to go ankles, or you like, yeah, okay, well, do your thing.
Okay. The best case scenario is consent. Where am I willing to go?
Where you willing to land at?
Full on force, baby.
What?
Oh,
no. We're talking about.
I'm joking.
Now we ain't talking about choke slamming off the dresser. We talking about Diddy. That is Diddy over there.
I'm joking. I know.
Jesus Christ.
Like,
I guess I'm somewhere like halfway between consent and cooperation.
Yeah.
Okay.
If so they say they do it, if you really want them to, would you be like, I want you to?
Hold on, what's say?
Because the one on compliance is like, I don't really want to, but I'll do it if you really want me to.
I would say, like, you might really want to do this.
Okay, so he'd say.
So you still on compliance?
And then we're gonna go back to, do you think that's?
No, I'm saying I mean, you might really want to do this or not. Yeah. Like, if you don't,
but you still gotta wait for her to say okay.
Yeah, but if you do, right?
Yeah.
Here I am, baby. Sassy the limit.
Yeah, so it should loop back around if they say I don't want to, but I'll do it if you really want to. It should go back to, do you want to?
Yeah. Well, what the fuck we doing?
Right. You still have to kind of bounce back. So, do you want to?
It's like it's
like. I guess the trap would be saying, I really want you to. I guess the trap would be if you were like, well, I really want you to, and they'd be like, okay. Now you on a slippery slope.
Yeah, now your compliance real close to course.
Yeah, you're real close to, because why did they just go ahead and go along with you? Like, were they scared, or did they really just like, were they mostly already convinced, or were they just people pleasing? Yeah, you'll never know that. So it's like that's when you get on the slippery slope. So that was good. I'm glad you shared that though.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it would be helpful. I took to heart what you said. Like you what they call it, upbraided, or you chastised. You got on me, and I was like, let me go really consider what she said.
Not even chastising y'all niggas.
Nah, you was on my neck. You was on my neck. You tore me a new one. Like,
Diddy. Sorry, inappropriate for what we're talking about. That is not. Sorry, we definitely do not support that kind of behavior.
But now I was like, let me go support. Let me go support the thoughts, like with something other than just my feelings. Instead of just feeling it out, let's ground it.
Oh, that when something. I said that. Oh yeah, I'm glad you said that.
I'm trying to figure out how they gonna rebrand Johnson & Johnson baby oil.
They ain't got the rebrand. He had drugs in that baby oil.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Because I seen
because who really out here still buying baby oil?
I mean,
just Diddy. He had all.
That's what I was like. I feel like he was like the number one purchaser.
I mean, it might be. It's a bunch of old niggas right now that's still put the baby. I'd be like, come on over here, girl. Let me give you a rub down.
I feel like baby oil smell good though. I love a little powdery.
It does smell good.
I feel like all oils kind of got a bad rap now. Like you can't bust out no oil no more.
I mean, it's definitely drugged up oil. I think.
Yeah.
So I
drink Hank.
Like, yeah.
Y'all remember the motion lotion?
So
man,
I don't know, but I feel like most people who using mineral oil and baby oil is just barbaric almost.
Yeah, I remember the motion lotion used to come in that little tube.
Name.
It was red.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I remember that name. That was back when the motion lotion, Spanish fly. There's a bunch of stuff that was around that orbit, but I don't know what was what.
Yeah, let's go,
man.
All right. Well, I have to go before you close out.
All right. Well, go ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, my little internet friend.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, y'all. We can ready to head out, man. This is the end of my mini series. I'm not gonna do the other 2-1 that I had planned. I'm just gonna, go ahead and cap this off here. I don't know what's up next. We don't know. There's only a couple people here actually in the stream, so I do appreciate y'all that are here. So I'm not gonna say too much like as far as plans because we just don't have any, and there's no point because nobody's here that's going to actually be thinking about the plans because there's only 2 people and they're not talking in the chat, so they're probably just lurking somewhere doing something else and probably not even hearing what I'm saying. So F all of y'all. I hope you run into Diddy.
I think I'm one of them. Don't say that shit, nigga. I'm one of them.
Oh, see, that means there's only one person watching still. See? I should delete this channel. Nobody's watching. Nobody cares about what I have to say. Nobody cares about my perspective. They just come and then they leave, just like Diddy. They come and then they leave.
Oh shit! Hold on. And with the phone?
Gotta keep saying Diddy.
Diddy. Vince McMahon.
Oh, no, somebody left. All right, just probably Bree. That might have been Bree. But all right, y'all. We getting ready to get up out of here. Hope y'all have a good weekend. And we out. Peace.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!